Dennis, good evening. First one here, Tree USA. Welcome to the show. Good to have everyone coming in here. Please share and like right away. Please tap that button with the likes right now, and please share. Debs, welcome to the show. This is Encounters. Howdy there, Dennis. Good to have you with us. Gail, good to have you with us, sister. And all the good people coming in here. Riley's Custom Guitars, welcome to the show. Ed Ra, welcome to our show. And Eddie Ra, and all the people, always the Queen, welcome to our show. Always the Queen. Good to have you with us. Everybody coming in here. This is Commander Alian, your host of the Cosmic Eye radio show on Sunday mornings, 11:30 to 8, 11:30 to 1. What am I talking about? And that's every Sunday morning at NPR Pacifica Radio. Cinnamon Spice, good to have you with us. Rubo, good to have you with us. Everyone coming in here, thanks for the likes. Please start sharing and liking right away. We want to amp it up to 50,000 likes tonight. We're going to be on here from 10:30 till about midnight or 12:30 at the latest. Cool Beans, welcome to the show. We're going to do interviews tonight. DZX, welcome to the show. And also, just to let you know, a little bit of promotion, please become a subscriber to my TikTok. I have 32 of 100 subscribers. My goal is to get 100. The whole idea with the subscriptions, that'll help us get some C5 equipment for our Ashtar Command contact group. We now have individually 2 sets of night vision equipment for our C5 group. We want to get a third, so the money raised in the subscriptions will help us get the funding for the third piece of equipment here in our Ashtar Command C5 group. So we appreciate that. To be a subscriber, you'll see the subscribe button. Just press it. You can subscribe whatever you have the available means to do so. We'd love to have you subscribe. Jack, welcome to the show. This is Encounters, the late night UFO talk show. I'm your host, Commander Alian, and also I'm a C5 coordinator here in Connecticut for the Ashtar Command C5 project. We have about usually 15 or 20 people in our group, and we're pretty active. We've had some rainy weekends, so we have not been able to get together. I'm hoping next weekend will be better than this weekend is going to be. And we'll get our group together and we'll do a live broadcast. UFO God, welcome to the show. Good to have everybody in here. Marinee, one of my moderators is here. Marinee, thank you for being here and doing what you do always. Toker, welcome to Encounters. And all the new people coming in here. So we want to get up to 50,000 likes here. If you're not following our show, just press Commander Alian 2022. Just follow me right away. We'll try to follow people as we can. We try to have everybody follow everybody else to get everybody amped up. Jax Taylor, welcome to our show, and we appreciate everybody coming in here. And as always, it's spontaneous. Steve, good evening. Good to have you with us. LR Candle Company. The LR Candle Company's here. Welcome, LR Candle Company. D. Korea. All the new people coming in here, welcome. Chesno, my other moderator in Connecticut, with our C5 group. Move, welcome to our show. Fitz, FFT, I think FFS, Kelly. I'm trying to catch these names really quick. Thank you for the first gift. Thank you so much for your first gift with the roses. Everybody coming in here, you're all part of this big broadcast that we do on late night. Maria Riaz, welcome to our show as well. Like, time schedule messed up, laugh, yes, I should be asleep by now. Mystic Maven, thanks for joining us, Mystic. Everybody coming in here, make sure you share with everybody. We should be sharing the show ourselves, you know. We're going to do random shares here just to make sure we get people in here. I'm going to start with the A's. I'm just going to randomly share with the A's. Everything is in alphabetical order here. I really still wish that TikTok would make it so when you want to share, you just press one button, and if you have 200 people on your list, they just all get it at once. They make it so technically difficult here. Let's see here, hold a minute. So we're going to just let people know we're live here. And we're going to send these out to people. Right about now, let's see here. So we just send to 15 people. Everyone, I'm doing 10 of my friends. I got so many people here to send things to. We're just getting amped up and started, folks. So you have not missed anything yet. We're just randomly going through all the things here. I'm going to go to the B's. And we're going to send some of the B names here, information. I figure the more we send out here, the more people will know we're here. And we're just randomly sending 15 at a time. And we'll get everybody. We're trying to get everybody to know that we're on live tonight. I know other people send messages out to all their people that they know. Now we're going to go to the C's and randomly select people in the C category. Some of you might be already in here. Hard to say. Let's see here. So we're definitely getting more UAP, UFO UAP Sky Scanner. Hello there. Good to see you. Victor, thank you for the likes. And if I don't acknowledge anybody at the moment, I am trying to share on the TV program here, our live, with all the people that are connected. So we're going to go to the D's. We're going to pick some people in the D category. I figure this way, 15 at a time. Just do the cosmic math. We'll get all the people in here that we need to. And we'll send another 15 here. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're still sending some likes out to everybody. Not likes, but messages to the show. We're going to go and see if we can go past the D's. And we're going to get up to the E's pretty soon. We're going to make sure everybody is here. Hey, ElRobert, we're doing good, brother. How are you doing? Long time no see. I know you're into the musical thing. Hope the music is doing well. And merry good evening, everyone coming in here. Was aboard a ship last night, Commander. I feel like someone was up to something. Laugh. Probably all good. Lynn, welcome to the show. RK 2023. Thank you for coming in here. Latin Sultan. The names go so fast here, I'll tell you. Tim, welcome to our show. Freedom Rider, welcome to the show. Cinnamon Spice, thank you. Again, I'm going to ask, does anyone feel like today had a weird vibe? Today was a very weird vibe. I think people were a little bit off today. There were people that were a little bit crazy today in regular Earth life. Julie, thank you for the roses. I would concur, at least in my experience today, there was some very weird energies affecting people. And it was like a full moon. I know there's no full moon. It felt like that. I'm just glad today's over because people were crazy. Zilla, those 1C cheeseburgers. I'm getting married tomorrow, Commander. Hey, Rob, congratulations. May you be on your honeymoon on a spaceship to another planet. And enjoy. Maybe you can go to my planet Mars. Martin, thank you for joining us. ElRobert, you got any new information for the Commander? It's been a while. I know you've been grooving to the music. And we're getting closer to the end of the year, so it's been a couple of long times before you've been on live. Would you like to come on and share? And everybody else, welcome to the show. And my friend Robert is a former person with top security clearance with Area 51 in Nevada. You've heard of the word area and then 51. Well, it's all the same thing. I saw a damn octopus monster. Conspiracy. Chan, you saw an octopus monster. Where'd you see that? Let's see. Oh, yeah, I had headaches today, someone says. Yeah, today was a very strange energy day. Moon over water. Welcome to the show. I would say I don't feel alone now, knowing that other people here had very weird experiences with energy. Oh, in your room. When did this happen, Conspiracy Chan? Squirrels all day. Welcome to the show. Timothy, welcome to our show. User 413, welcome. I lost 30 kin today. Yogi 305. I'm just reading people's comments here. Like 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Was this a physical encounter in your room? User 827, thank you for the likes. Big Girl Storm, welcome to the show. Conspiracy, thank you for the roses. Thank you so much. Quinn Mini Bar and Grill. Give me 20 minutes, wait to share TR3B crash site Australia. That'll be interesting, Robert. Yeah, take your time, man. Lisa Bailey, good evening. Good evening, all the brothers and sisters all over the world. So in about 20 minutes or so, City Limit Grams, my friend, Will, good to have you with us. My friend and former person who worked at Area 51 for about 3 years with top security clearance is going to talk about a crash of a TRB-3 in Australia. So we're going to get some interesting stories from my friend Robert, ElRobert. And Yogi 305, welcome. Heather CC, UFO UAP says, last night a ship on top of my house, high beams me, and I pull my iPhone out and he went invisible. Oh yeah, they can do that. The higher dimensional ships can just like flip right out. Yeah, good evening, Killa Kelsey. Good to have you with us. CC, old school boatman, welcome to the show. All the good people out here. And well, I'm just going to, Lexicon, good to have you with us, man. I'm just going to, just a few more people. Oh, how's that happen? Old school boatman, welcome to the show.
Oh, hey, thank you. Nice to finally get to talk to you, brother, because it's just nice to know that there's a community like us out there that, you know what I mean, that you can get
Yeah.
support and not.
Oh, yeah, I've been on radio for 30 years. I mean, over 30 years. But I'm getting some feedback on the thing. Do you have another speaker or something going? There's feedback coming through your...
No, I'm not sure what's going on with it. I wonder if I'm charging my phone at the sun. Let me unplug that. Is that better?
Yeah, now it is.
I was charging my phone. Sometimes it does weird things when you're charging them.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Now I don't hear myself. I can hear myself a little bit here. I'm not sure why that happens.
I don't know. I'm not sure either. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But
Do you have
that's
can you bring your, let me see here. Never mind. I was going to say,
I don't have enough
I'm going to
phones.
listen to you. I'm getting feedback of my voice through your live broadcast. Let's try getting you back on again. Go back off and come back in.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I'm going to switch you back off again. Okay, do this. We're going to see this happen sometimes with TikTok. You might want to say something's volume on his phone. Okay, Riley. So maybe what he has to do is turn the volume down on his phone. We'll try that again. He has a lot of background noise. Yeah. Hey, Gracie, good to see you. Mary, let's see, everybody here. I'm going to XXX joined us, whoever that is. Burr, thank you for coming in. LB1 Conspiracy, thank you for the earth. I appreciate all the gifts that are being sent. I'm going to try to get him back in here. And now I don't know what happened. So let's see here. Old school, if you're there, we're going to try to do this again. You know, that happens. Sometimes I bring people on and there's like an audio problem. So I am praying. And we got Riley custom guitar. And Riley, we're going to bring Riley on in a few minutes too. Old school, if you're there, let me see. I'm going to go backwards to try to find you. And it could be something happening here. Old school. I'm scrolling backwards. I know he's here somewhere. Let's see. I'm Commander Alion, your host here on Encounters. We'll see if Old School comes back in here. Give me 1 minute. I just want to invite another 15 or 30 people on my list here. I got to make sure I don't miss anybody here. So I'm going into the J's. So anyone who's a J alphabet is getting invited. Just randomly picking out people. So we're going to do this here and see what happens. Okay, let's see. Where is Old School? I lost Old School somehow, but that's okay. He'll come back. It could be something with his phone. Sometimes I wonder if it's the volume controls on our phones if we don't turn them down. If we turn them down, then we can't hear anybody. So who knows? So now we're just going into the I's here. We're hitting the H's and the I's. And we're going to make sure we get all these people and the I's in here on the alphabetical order list. And we'll see who's here. That's another 15. So I want to welcome everybody to the show. And again, we love hearing people's stories. If you have any visitation stories, any direct information as a person inside the Department of Defense or any agencies that want to come forward under an alias and disclose information regarding activity that's going on that we don't know about regarding extraterrestrial activity, we want to know about it. I'm going to also invite our DOD friend here and see if she's on tonight. So we're going to go into searching for her right now. I'm going to do this right now, and we'll see what happens. So I'm sending her a message. I'm sure she's awake, and we'll see what happens. So we're just amping things up here, folks. The commander is just inviting people to come into the studio and be part of our audience here. And you can be a part of the Encounters audience just by coming in to our broadcast on TikTok. So now we're going to go to a few other places here. I'm hitting the K's. Some of you might be already in here, maybe not, I don't know. I'm inviting the K's, people with the letter K. All right, there you go. All right, so there we go. Kahuchu, we've been great. I hope you've been doing good, brother. Nice to have you with us. Old School is back. Let me find Old School. Oh, there he is. I am back. I'm going to try to get you on here, Old School. We're going to bring you on here. Hopefully there's no feedback, so we're going to bring you on here. Pray that the technology works.
Me too.
This is okay. No feedback now. It's good.
It is working? Good.
It seems to be working better. I'm going to bring my volume down a little bit here. And I'm not sure, but I'm getting a little bit of feedback, but I don't know why. But I'll deal with it.
Is this okay? I'll turn my volume down a little bit.
Okay.
Is that better?
That works. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, nice to finally be on, and I've been paying attention to you a lot. So, and like I said, I feel like a kindred, another brother that I haven't met yet.
We are. So I got the feeling you've had some experiences, correct?
Yeah, I've had multiple.
And whereabouts in the world are you? What part of the world?
I'm in Georgia at the moment. I'm from Mississippi originally.
Oh, great. Well, it's nice to meet you on Encounters. So I'm going to hit it right over to you. What would you like to start sharing with us regarding what's going on where you are?
Well, I haven't had a lot of activity in, I'd say 2.5, 3 years. The last kind of encounter I had was after my mom and dad both had passed, and I was sitting out in the garage where he used to sit at, and just sitting out and looking through some things, and I I caught out of the garage.
The old TikTok or the government's interfering with your story. Always once in a while happens on my show. Are you still there, old school?
Is it messing up?
I can hear you now. It's messing up. I don't think it's you. It's either TikTok or the government. One or the
Yeah,
other.
more than likely the government. More than
I
likely.
don't think the government likes me on here because I'm telling people the truth. Go ahead.
Well, that is well. There's there's a faction of it that doesn't. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully
That's
they're
right.
about to be. Hopefully they're about to be moved out of the way.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
when our ships come from outer space, they're gonna be hiding in the bathroom, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many different groups that are out there that we're all star seeds from anyway. So it's a matter of time, and they're on a deadline clock before the Federation shows up anyway. So, and
Yeah.
I mean, most people don't realize that we're there's a faction of us that's already a part of the Federation. I mean, we have three ships that have commissioned that have tall whites that are help design and build them along with our own Navy. And
Well, that is actually, just so you know, there's 6 large motherships 50,000 miles outside of the Earth's atmosphere in 6 different areas of our planetary system. I talked about this before. They represent the astrogalactic fleets, which represent all the spiritual planetary systems. So there are 6 specific ships, all in certain specific areas outside the Earth's atmosphere, about 50,000 miles out.
right, I've done a little bit of research and stuff, and kind of leaning toward that's definitely a fact.
Yeah.
I believe it. I haven't had any personal contact with any of Arcturians or Palladians or any of that group. As a matter of fact, I don't even my experiences haven't been that pleasurable. But of course, my higher self is plugged in. I'm very connected to spirit and very connected to my oversoul self, and I know that's my role to play, being one of the frequency holders on the ground. That's on the ground, and I'm hanging in there. It's been tough, but bless Barbara Lamb. I wish that woman's an awesome lady. But and a lot of the people I've been around in the groups around her and stuff helped me to kind of tap into the lost time and the lost stuff that was going on with me, to kind of help over the years put a clarity into my abduction experience. But and
now,
that
you mentioned you had an abduction experience. So was it an abduction or was it a contactee experience? The word abduction would mean that you're taken without being asked to be taken. A contactee experience is you're taken, not taken. You agree to go, and they don't force you to go with them. So what kind of experience was that?
That was hell for me. That I woke up knowing something crazy had happened to me, because I'd been building pulse wave modulations and getting all these downloads and different things on how to build, going into the free energy stuff, because I love playing. I'm a mechanic by trade, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, around about 2009, I started getting a lot of information coming in about stuff I had no clue what it was about. So I had to teach myself how to build electronics and what different components and what things did and how to do stuff, and struggled with that. And then in the midst of me in a manic state of being up for about 2 days or so, desoldering electrical components out of about 2:30. I'll never forget this, because it was about 2:30 in the morning on November the 12th of 2009. It was cold as hell over here in Georgia, and the ground was iced out all over the place. And I came to just about before the sun came up outside my house, butt naked, in a circle where me laying there, and a complete circle around me was the ground was unfrosted all around me. And when I looked up, the bay window were outside of the house. I wish I could draw a sketch for you to show you the area looked like, but it was a 2-story house, and I had a big bay window at the top 2-story part where my kids' bedroom was. And both of my kids at the time were little. They were 8 and 7. I mean, 9 and 7, and they had their mouths wide open, looking at me, banging on the window. When I become conscious and I looked up and figured out what was going on, they were beating on the window, pointing to the west horizon.
Really?
And my kids can tell you this. They seen me get dropped off. And I wound up losing my mind. I wound up getting divorced over it. Thinking I was schizophrenic. I've gone through hell, man. People, and I don't normally talk about those things that would not really even share this like this to most folks, but I do know that there's a positive side of it out there, and I know that you're on that side of it. And I've had multiple encounters, spiritual and etheric, through breath work and through psilocybin mushrooms one time, and people say, well, yeah, that's drug induced. Nobody can really prove anything this way or other, but that moment of my life was so surreal and so real to me, and the love I received from the beings in that realm put me back into a place where I could keep going forward. If I didn't at that point, I would have probably wound up taking my life. It's just
so you're now in a different space today than you were before.
Yes.
So interesting.
Yeah. Now back in Mississippi, the craziest thing happened after my dad had died. Like I was saying, that night in the garage, I look up and I hear plain as day in my head, "Hey, it's time. Won't you take a break?" Because I had broken down. I was sitting there just looking through some of Dad's stuff, and I was falling to pieces. I done had a mental moment, and the overwhelming love feeling came over me. And when I had looked and made contact and actually seen the craft, and they asked me, "Won't you take a break for a minute and come with us?" I said, "Walk out here, walk down the street, and lay down," just like that. And I'm like, "What the hell? What the hell?" But I was physically talking back, even though it was telepathy to me. But I was physically talking back and just losing my shit, man. In the middle of the street, my mother, my stepmother, that was my dad's second love of his life, that was missing him so much, and they all had to come outside because they were worried about somebody calling the neighbors calling the police or something, because I was losing my crap, and I went to lay down. I went to lay down out in the street, thinking they've said move on farther down because it's going to really mess with everybody, just like that. If I wanted to go, and I was ready to go, and then my soulmate Jenny, that during that bad experience I was telling you about, and she just happened to walk out of the room. I mean, that not wrong, but she can tell you personally herself that she can remember the trauma that I was going through at the moment when I was picked up. That I felt like the Kundalini was being sucked out of the top of my head with three beings that were at least 9 foot tall, at least, that looked like would be Nordics, or what people would call it. They were very pale skinned, blue-eyed, blonde hair, really almost white hair, and
Mm-hmm.
and it was two females and a male, and they never moved their mouth, but they were telepathically talking to me, and the male was like over the back of me, and I was strapped in this chair, and it was like having the life force or something just sucked out of me, and it's like, you agreed to do that. The only thing I remember from that is you agreed to this before you came, and that's the only thing I got from them. But it hurt more than anything I could ever experience before. For going back through the regression and remembering what was going on was nuts. But Jenny felt my pain, was my soulmate that's connected to me from when this happened to me in Georgia, and she was back in Mississippi, and
We hadn't talked in 3 years.
And me and her hadn't talked in 3 years. I was married at the time, and this is somebody I grew up with. Now I've always known she's my soulmate, but now we've been together for 18 years. But
congratulations!
Thank you.
We had not spoken 3 years, and I woke up out of a dead sleep, and I was crying my eyes out, and I was sitting there shaking back and forth, and I didn't know what was causing it. All I knew was that it was him. I could feel him. Something was wrong. And then he called me after 3 years the next day and told me what had happened, and I knew it. There's no doubt in my mind it happened to him because I felt it.
And that's
these three beings that were tall, and they were telepathic. That's the way they communicate. Did you get a sense that they were positive, not positive? What were they doing?
It felt like they had. I had such a fear reaction to it. I couldn't. It was like I was paralyzed before the, and I felt this. The only way I can describe it is like I felt at my root chakra, or actually the balls of my feet, and then up through my legs, and then through my root chakra, where it was. It felt like I was on fire, and then it just moved completely all the way through my spine, all the way up through the top to about the top of my head, and then my ears were freaking ringing, like with just. I wish I could. The hurt range had to have been somewhere around. I've tried to play with tone generators just to get that sound back, to try to figure that out, and somewhere close to about 11,000 or so hertz, which is hard for me even to. Yeah. My hearing's bad from the work I do, working on two strokes, but in that range is about to where it's maybe mixed with some other frequency that is the closest I've ever been able to recreate it through a tone generator, and then of what it felt like buzzing in my head, and I don't know to this day exactly what that was about, but
again, that implant in your hand, your arm.
But I woke up with when I came to in the yard there. Yeah, like I said, I was naked. And
did they say where they were from? Like, did they tell you we're from so and so star system? What did they tell you?
Nothing. They didn't tell me anything like that. The only thing they told me was that you agreed to do this before you came. That was the only thing that I got from them.
To do this before you came.
And I guess I take it as I guess before I incarnated this time. I guess, you know what I mean. It's the only thing I can put.
But my question is, like, they're saying you agreed to do this before you came. The question is, what did you agree to do? That's the part that we don't get.
The procedure or whatever they were doing to me, or whatever they were pulling out of me, or for it's like the life force, or they did something to me. I don't know what they did. I still don't know. I've still been trying to figure that out. But
did you feel different? It's like people know this is Encounters. I'm Commander Leon. I guess it's old school boatman, and we're talking about his abduction experience with these tall beings that had white hair. There was like two men and one woman.
No, 2 women and 1 man.
2 women and 1 man. Who was in charge of the group? The 3 of them.
The man was.
He was in charge.
Well, he was the one. He's that I never heard. It was a male's voice telepathically to me that said that. because I was screaming, "You're hurting me! Let go of me!" But I don't understand. But I was saying this mentally because I couldn't say anything physically,
Yeah.
and that was all I got. And then it really burned. But
Yeah. So you sound
it was like somebody just. I like electricity. I deal with. I like frequency, and I mean, I'm one of those weird people that doesn't mind getting shocked by a 40,000 volt coil from a two stroke. It doesn't bother me. It kind of feels good. Or my own resistance to electricity is different than the regular person because it's
and
changed because of things. But
were you on
that
their
was
ship? Did they take you on their ship?
that's the thing. This I was on like this doesn't make sense to me. If I was on like a craft like what I would imagine something from an interstellar star system to look like, this was a
Yeah.
white. Though I don't know where the light was illuminating this room I was in, and there was one table thing there that was stainless steel. That didn't make any sense to me because that's
No,
what it looked
no.
like.
If they were positive beings, number one, they wouldn't have a stainless steel. If they
Right.
if
That's
you
that.
want to put your mute button on for a minute, just turn the mute button when I'm talking. Put it on mute just for a minute.
Okay.
You got a little microphone? Okay. So just use the mute button when I'm speaking. Tuck it off mute when you answer my question. This way we won't have feedback. So now it sounds better. So my question is, there was a metal table, you're saying, and they put you on a metal table and you were strapped on the table. Now, if they were beings of light or star people that were, spiritual, they would never put you on a table and strap you in like that and never do what they were doing. So as I'm listening to your story, these particular beings, I don't know who they are, but they certainly didn't have good intentions. So I'm gonna stop speaking in encounters and let you turn the mic back on, and then respond. And then when I speak, then turn the mic back on. Turn the mic off. Go ahead.
You're exactly right. I don't know what this was exactly, but this was this had to be something to do with shadow government or something to do with that messing with me in that way. It had to be because all the stuff I was getting in the previously 8 months of research and these downloads and then processing forward with my invention and working with patent writers and spending $8,000 on trying to get this pushed through because I had working prototypes and that stuff is when this happened to me right after that. Yeah. And then shortly after this abduction and me going to get this thing dug out of my arm that they left, that I don't have it. I woke up on the ground bleeding, and I've got a scar. I'm happy to send you a picture.
Let me ask you a question. Put your thing on mute again. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so my question is, now it gets more interesting. They put something in your arm. Now, if those were beings of light, if they were star people, they would never do that. So some people
This
say,
sounds like a government operation.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it,
Hi,
James? Jason, my
Commander.
co-host. Hi, James. Good to have you with us. My co-host James is here in Florida. We're glad to have you on here.
We
Yeah,
are
it
here
sounds
and
to
we are
me.
vibing.
Yeah, I think it was the government. I think our government had something to do with this, and he was talking about working on some protocols or some prototypes. That maybe were things the government didn't want to work on. Yeah, I'm going to ask him if he was ever in certain projects. Once he gets back on, I have so many questions here now. So one of my questions is the object. What was the object in the arm that was taken out? What did it look like? Two, these things he was working on, these prototypes. Were you ever contacted by anybody in the government or any weird people stop and say, we want to see something? And I'm going to have him answer that question right now. So go ahead, old school vote. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, very much so. After I had gotten pretty good at producing HHO Brown's gas from pulse wave modulation with using I don't want to get in too much detail. Go with that. I'll get off subject because.
No,
But
we'll stay on subject.
I got
But
I got
explain what
visited.
happened.
I got visited. I had shortly before. I don't know, about 45 minutes before my children were supposed to get off work. Get off school, the school bus 2 weeks prior to me waking up in the yard. I had 5 black Tahoes pull up at my house, walk in the door, and from NSA. So and they took every flash drive, every computer component, every freaking thing in that house that I had desoldered or anything and stuff like that, packed it up and took it with them. 2 guys sat down and told me that don't worry about even trying to patent anything that has anything to do with free energy or anything to do with that at all. And that was the end of it. After, I don't really want to go too much. I know they're listening, paying attention to me now on that, but I
Well, we
don't
don't
want,
care to,
you know.
look,
I,
you're on the big show here. You're on Encounter, so we got to deal with it
already,
together.
yeah,
Turn the mic off for a minute. I want to ask you a question. So now this is where my consciousness goes, folks. I had the strongest feeling, old school, that the government was involved. Even people in the audience were saying government, 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 right?
Yeah,
All
as
went
soon as he
on.
was talking, I was thinking it.
Yep, James, my co-host, was thinking it. Many of you were thinking it. And he mentioned NSA confiscated all his stuff in the house.
For all
That's
he
if
knows,
you
it was
don't
NSA.
NSA.
It could have been anybody.
Well, he said it was NSA. They said they were from the NSA. So if they were, that's, and they were monitoring him, and then he's taken on
said it was
board this
national
craft.
security, but nobody ever wanted to show me any badges or anything like that.
Right.
That's
Well,
the
then
whole
I
Yeah,
think
they
it's
crazy
didn't.
part
They
about
just
it.
told him. They told him they were NSA, but they didn't
They didn't have
prove
any
that they were
they didn't have
NSA.
Homeland Security on their Tahoes or nothing. It was just black Tahoe. Obviously, I done.
And it could be Men in Black too. So turn the mic off for just a minute. So it could be Men in Black. It could be NSA. The thing is, whoever they were, they've been monitoring him. And when he was taken aboard into this room with a metal table, that's definitely us. That's something to do with
Yeah,
our
that's the
government.
way they when they reverse engineer the craft, they make it look like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He was taken
Commander,
by,
we have 3 people in the chat that say they have implants as well.
I want to talk to those people too. But his story is amazing. And I'm glad, old school, you're sharing because number one, you were taken into a room and it was our own shadow government. There's a government within a government. Thank you, Levick. There is, we're going to expose all these people, the NSA, the parts of these different intelligence communities. We're going to blast them out, man, because they need to be exposed. We're not afraid of anything. We're not afraid of the NSA, MIBs, anything. We're here to bring light where there's darkness, to liberate the planet, and to break the matrix. So I'm telling you, I'm fired up right here. When I hear stories like this, it's like, okay, it's time for us on this planet, those that are awakened, to push back against these forces that have been trying to silence and control information, including free energy. Daily Vibe, thank
Whoa,
you. It's
Soul
just
Tribe.
it's ultra. And so old school, you came to the right place. You're in the right TV show. This group here, none of us want to see that happen. And it's just not right. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
unfortunate, and he is embodying what the government is doing to, discredit the positivity of these beings.
and the fact is, the government is the ones that put an implant into you. Now, I want you to tell us what the implant looked like because, that's totally against everything I believe in coming here to Earth. This is the kind of stuff that is wrong. No one should be doing this to anybody. So I want to know, tell us what the implant was that was taken out.
All right, this maybe we didn't get to look at it for long, when he got it out of my arm or back of my shoulder where I see out this scar at, because he was digging I'd been digging 2 days trying to grab, because something was vibrating in my arm, and I woke up bleeding from the ground that way. And my wife thought I was absolutely nuts at the time, because I was going through some things at that time, and she just thought I was out of my rocker. And I was drinking a lot, but these things are happening to me, and I don't think she could deal with it. But when they pulled this out of my arm, well, this one, I went to a general aftercare place wanting to go see somebody, and I'm like, there's something in my arm. Can you please see what the hell I got in here to stick and get out of me? And he didn't know. I didn't tell him anything about what I thought it might be at all. And he stuck a syringe, I can't remember what gauge it was, underneath, down into the pocket, a little hole that's in my arm that was never would stop bleeding. It never would coagulate. Wow. It wouldn't bleed a lot, but it would never quit. It would never quit bleeding, and I never would stop messing with it for at least, I'd say, 36 something hours trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And I made it worse trying to get it out, I guess. But he stuck I guess about a 10 gauge, just the end of a syringe down in it, blew a little bit of saline in it, and went in and grabbed it with a pair of hemostats and pulled out, I would say, 6 millimeters long by maybe a point 0.4, 0.5 millimeter, like almost the size of a mechanical pencil. It was tapered at one end about that small and went up a little bit bigger than that. And when he got it out and was trying to wash it off on the thing, it just disintegrated right there in front of it. Just
disintegrated.
Just went to pieces.
Put your mic on for just a minute. So it actually disintegrated, folks. The implant taken out, disintegrated.
Now, Commander, I'm going to tell you something. I've heard stories of this happening before with people having these implants, and then when they get out, they just disintegrate or like poof.
Yeah, they're gone. I've heard stories. I met somebody who was with the CIA at a UFO conference. He was formerly with the CIA. He had about 2 clear boxes full in his presentation of implants that were taken out of people who were abducted. There was an implant of like a thing that was in near somebody's eye, and it was like a camera that was implanted near their eye. He showed me all these different implants.
Oh, it's so creepy.
It is. I mean, but the truth is, we have to expose this garbage on my show. I mean, we really have to. I mean, in bringing forth the changes of light on our planet, in saying the things that have been going on here for 70 years in our current history, in the lies that have been placed on the public on this planet that people don't even know. Billions of people have no idea what's being done to people by our own shadow government, or people that are involved in secret operations with reverse engineering, with these reverse engineered craft that they abduct people on, and they do what they're going to do, and nobody ever knows about it. But I can say right now on this show, I'm going to say loud and clear, Encounters is a place where we are going to push back. And gents know this. We're going to push back on these people in portions. And now, understand something. There are good people in all these agencies that are against what's going on. There are the people that are doing it that don't care about the sanctity of the individuals they're dealing with, and they're going to do whatever they want to do, and we have to stop it. And we, as the light force, have to stop it. We have to say, this is not right. This has to be exposed. It's not going to be exposed on NBC News or NSB or CBS or anybody else, but we're going to expose this by our guests, like Old School, sharing that he was taken, abducted by our own government, not the surface government that we see here in Washington, by a government that is top secret that allows this kind of stuff to happen. We don't allow it anymore. We say no more.
Wait a second, Commander. Are you saying that the government is conspiring against the people of this country?
of the people of this planet.
Whoa! Say it a little bit louder.
I'll say it again. If I've not said it before, I'm saying it real clearly based on this story. Very clearly, there's two things happening. I want to be very specific here. There is a shadow government that is above the surface government. Like every country has a prime minister, a president, or whatever. That's a surface, everyday looking government. There is a top secret government that exists in probably all the major countries that are involved in these things, especially since we're in this part of the world. There is a top secret level that allows for these abductions of individuals to be done, to have them have implants. This is against every single universal law in the universe. And I speak directly on this, you know. So when I hear old school story, it hits me to the point where it's wrong. I mean, it's obviously wrong. I think all of you know on this encounter show that it is wrong. And whatever you want to call them, Illuminati, this or that, or whatever it is, it's just plain against the whole concept of life on any planet. You wouldn't find this on any of the planetary worlds in which I'm connecting with people on the galactic levels. And like I said, I don't channel anything. My information is direct. I don't channel anything. I come here fully awakened. You know, I'm not afraid of anything or any agency or any intelligence person anywhere. I'm telling them they need to stop. And this
That's right.
broadcast that we're doing tonight will be on my YouTube channel at some point tomorrow or tomorrow night. So I'm also putting it on my Facebook channel, and also on my radio show we'll talk about it. You know, we'll play the audio parts about this. People need to know there are things happening, you know, and we can be all the light we wish to be, but we have to also realize there are forces that want to still do what they want to do on this planet to people and everything else, and we need to stop that. We are the ones that need to stop it. It is. It's totally wrong, as Kit Kat's saying, you know? And that's what they
Yes,
do. They blame it on the
conspiracy.
peaceful
Yes.
ET, the peaceful beings. They're blaming the peaceful beings and say there's going to be this invasion and we have to be prepared. The people that are saying that are pawns. They're like basically they're little strings that are little puppets for the shadow government or whatever you wish to call it. They are just the little puppets. We have to get ready for this invasion. What they're saying is they want to lie to the public about what's coming. This so-called invasion. There's no invasion. There are beings of light, spiritual beings from other planetary worlds that are coming here really soon, and they're trying to do everything to get the public afraid of that, when in fact it's our own governments that are doing the abductions of the people like Old School and many millions of other people in the last number of decades. And they're never going to admit it unless they're exposed. And they need to be exposed. Totally.
Well,
So if you, again, this is my commentary. I mean, this kind of story gets me riled up in a way that needs to see this thing stopped. So Old School, I'm going to turn it back to you, man. Your story is really important, and people need to hear the story because you represent a story that many others who have been abducted have not been able to tell. So you need to be able to speak your story, and I really do appreciate you being here, man.
thank you,
Definitely.
brother. The biggest thing I want to bring out of this is, hey, I'm not playing a victim to this in any which shape, way, or form, because I would not be where I am and understand the overall who I am if it wasn't for that experience. So even though it was really unpleasant to deal with at the time, looking back and looking forward, if it wasn't for that, Dr. Stephen Greer and their team wouldn't have been in my life. David Wilcox's team and them wouldn't be in my life. Linda Moulton Howe and all of those people wouldn't be in my life. It's brought me to be able to be the light worker that I am. and to hold the energies that I came here to begin with in the first place. Everybody, we're living in such the greatest time that has ever been in anywhere in the universe, because the polarity here and the stuff that we play out at this Harvard University of experience, other like our brothers and sisters that are out there and our cousins and all these other races are out there that are cannot believe the horrific shit we do to each other in the first place. I mean, you're right. None of this stuff goes on in anywhere else out there. And that's the reason all of us seeds decided to incarnate here into this polarity from those original places, from the Pleiades and the Arcturians. And God, I could just go on and on and on and on and on. We're all here. And it's all for a reason, because it's because of us.
Right.
When we ascend from where all of us that get to change the vibrational frequency here and go to where we're going next is going to change the whole construct throughout the rest of the universe to be able to create in a different light, because of our experiences that we've gone through, because they would never go through it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I want you to turn your mic off, turn the mic off for a minute. Okay, kind of like the feedback. So I do agree with that. I mean, and you know yourself better than I do. So if that experience brought you to a different clarity of who you are, that is a beautiful thing. So, but it was important for you to share that experience, because it should never happen. I mean, it definitely turned out positive for you, but you went through a thing that you should have never gone through if you never had any other things in your life that were detrimental to you. That's just, there are a lot of other people having have had those experiences that our government has actually abducted people, making them think they were being taken on a ship somewhere. And in fact, it was our government implanting people. That's been done for decades. It's been documented. Like I said, I met somebody who was in the CIA at a UFO conference, and he had done a presentation, and I did a TV show, and I was taking video camera pictures of these implants that him and Dr. Lear were taking out of people that were abducted. And, it should never happen. People should never have things implanted in them, whether it be from non-terrestrials or from our own government. It's absolutely wrong. But I do understand. I do now. I mean, I can tell you're in a much better place. So that, I believe, is beautiful. I also want to mention that we have our DOD contact and dear friend, Shai, with us. Good evening, Shai. How are you?
We need to get her a theme song.
I'm in a very, very good mood. I got bumped in security clearance, so I got up a little bit.
Whoa!
Congratulations,
Congratulations! One step closer to disclosure.
We have to get you a
Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how that kind of situation goes. You get set in, and they'll tell you, hey, you either got it or you didn't. And then they'll name everything you've done in like the last month online. And, they'll tell you who your best friends are, who you talked to those two, who you had phone calls with. Obviously, when I'm on TikTok, I take some precautions, so I don't have to deal with that here.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, it's really a really funny situation. They'll tell you, who you were on the phone with the most. They'll even tell you some of your conversations. So.
Were they telling you what you were eating?
Oh yeah, and then you get hooked up to a polygraph. And then
polygraph.
Do you have any intention on betraying the United States of America, committing traitorous or treasonous acts? Yeah, stuff like that.
Well, don't mention our name.
We're gonna have
we are the revolution.
I'm going to do cosmic treasonous acts. I just want you to know that now.
Yeah, and we actually had a flight today of a experimental. I won't name the contractor because I don't know if he'd want me to, but which we have tons of out of orbit capable vehicles. We've gone really far we've gone to Neptune, or by it. We haven't gone necessarily on it, but we have craft that can achieve that.
Going by Neptune. Just let people know.
Yeah.
Just let people know. This is Shai, who's just for new people in here. This is our friend and inside DOD contact who's just been graduated into another level of high security clearance within the DOD. She's one of the people of many who are on the side of disclosure within the department. And there are many people like her that are opposed to the cover-up that's been going on for over 70 years. So I just want to give you a nice little introduction, Shai, just for people that are new. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Continue on.
So it's actually, we've had tons of different names for them, but this one's called the Manta Project. But so basically, think about it this way. Whenever blueprints are drawn up or anything, they don't go to a facility, right, with a lot of people have access to. They go to a facility, and these are for contractors. We're not talking about the government here. Because the main people who operate this are contractors. Raytheon,
Raytheon.
Yeah, those two are the big ones. But anyways, so they send these documents and these blueprints to one facility, and this facility is known by 3 people. That's it. And
Whoa.
all the high, it's similar to like how these defense contractors will build bases by like Air Force bases, and that's for a reason. These Air Force bases, they get this land, and then the contractors they're working with, are like, hey, since we're so close, can we just slide on in? And they'll give them about 20 acres, 30 acres, and it'll be the most inconspicuous place. It's like a landfill most times, and then it'll get dust compartmentalized to never see the light of day again. So that's how that kind of problem. But we had a launch today. It was 30 minutes there and back. It was 5 minutes for orientation of the pilots. It's a full automated thing, and I got I got video of this. I cleared it. We got telemetry. We had to make sure there were no commercial flights in the area at the time.
So what kind of craft was it?
Yeah, that's right. What the craft?
If you were to look up, it's made purely out of metamaterials. It utilizes quantum physics on an extremely high level. So quartz supercomputers are on it. There's fiber optics that run in between it. It nullifies space-time. So technically, if we go into the physics of it, and he described it to me, I'm not a physicist. I work with satellites. But basically, I'll give you short version, layman's terms. The craft itself isn't moving. What's moving is space-time around it.
Whoa.
That's wild. That's incredibly wild.
Yeah, and so 30 minutes altogether, and 5 of that was just getting the systems online. And it's relatively safe.
How fast? Where did it go?
It went to Jupiter, and it went in total 768,154 miles altogether, to and from.
In 30 minutes?
30 minutes, yeah. Well, technically 25.
Oh my God. Now, that's insane. That's crazy.
The pilot would have, if we didn't have that, this advanced, aura around it, almost like nullifying the effects of gravity. So the pilot, if he didn't have any of that, would have experienced 6,000 Gs, which means he would have been dead. But nonetheless, this is a problem. This is the problem they had in the 80s that they've had. Lockheed Martin, at least, has had fixed since the 80s. They've had. So
was this? And I don't want to get confused here. Was this a human? Was there a pilot or a space person?
It was piloted.
So we had a human being went all the way to Jupiter, past Jupiter, correct?
Yeah.
That's crazy, folks.
Right there, right in front of it.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Are you familiar with Linda Moulton Howe and some of her? Well, I mean, not asking you if you know her contacts and stuff, but she's got JSOC and Department of Defense or intelligence contacts, and I've heard her talk about the Helen Keller, the Hoyt Vandenberg, and the Curtis LeMay starships that we have joint venture to have built with some Nordics that are capable of going 5 days travel and going 40 light years in 5 days. Are you familiar with any of that, or maybe heard that through the grapevine by chance?
Well, I know he's the investigative journalist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I mean Linda Moulton Howe. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit familiar with their stuff. I've really never looked into these kind of people, in terms of investigation. The only two that I really know and frequently listen to are people like Ross Coulthard and George Knapp, which I don't really frequently listen to him. I mean, those are just the two that I'm... Yeah, those are the two I'm familiar with in terms of like anything talking point, but like yeah, it was some pretty cool stuff. And then, I've been getting a lot of streams of information here recently. I actually got a call. I'm not going to name the private contractor, and I got offered a job there. So
Oh, you got offered a job.
yeah, and I would
What
be
did,
on a need to know level as well. So I would even be bumped in clearance again. I'm thinking about
No, we
taking.
don't want that happening. You stay where you are. We want you to go up and up and up in
No, I'm up.
clearance.
No, I'd go up. I'd go up one more.
yeah, no, she would bump up in clearance.
Oh,
Yeah.
I grew up down the road from Raytheon in Forest, Mississippi.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably notice some weird things in the sky every now and then because
Oh yes, and on top of that, my grandfather was the NAS Navy base in Meridian, Mississippi's fire chief for 20 years. So I've seen a lot of crazy stuff over in those skies.
and you'll notice like near those contractors' official locations, you're gonna see some stuff every now and then. And a lot of them, which typically they have the name like they'll call them range. I'm not gonna name the ranges because that would just be a huge security risk. But there will be certain ranges and they'll have names, and these places are located in some crazy off. Sometimes they'll be like buildings.
Nowhere.
Yeah. Like sometimes they'll hide them. They'll hide them. They'll hide them by Air Force bases in the woods, or there'll be a land chute. Like for trash, and they'll hide. And you think about the size of garbage trucks, wouldn't be too hard to hide some things in there.
yeah.
In terms of getting equipment there. So pretty cool
Hey,
stuff.
Yeah.
Shy, have you heard anything about the government's moving nuclear weapons around?
Yeah, and each time, there's 1 to 5 UAP that follow them. Anytime a nuclear weapon's moving, I promise you, 100%. I'll say it with 90% certainty. There's like a UAP that follows them.
Mm. So
Really?
did that
That,
happen this week? Is that going on right
Yeah.
now?
Oh, I mean, yeah. That's every time we move nuclear capability, yeah. Even
well,
like
you,
our which I'm more involved with the nuclear submarine part, like in aircraft carriers. Those two
yeah.
things have heavy UAP presence all the time.
Wow.
I don't believe they'll let another nuclear detonation happen on this planet.
I agree.
I really feel that with 100% in total being that I've been assured that, and to go back to the Curtis LeMay, I remote viewed it, and you talking about impressive looking. That's pretty cool.
Hey, Shy, let me ask you, do you know
Yeah.
anything about these people that are getting abducted by human-based crafts that are getting
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
these
the
chips,
government.
these
The Air
chips
Force.
installed? What are the chips and implants?
I don't know about the
Yeah. What?
implants, but I know the U.S. Air Force has been running a PSYOP unit with like 50 people that have focused on purely abduction.
And
Hmm.
why are we?
That's
Why?
what
Just
my
thinking
thing
about
was.
what? Why are we abducting? I mean, I kind of know why, and it's wrong. But from your perspective on the inside, what's the reasoning for that?
Well, they like to scare people. I mean, okay, so think about it, right? The Air Force, they get this task force together. Their main focus is to be a psyop, so to scare people of aliens. That we've, as of an intelligence apparatus, we purely observe them to be only act in self-defense, one, and two, in purely observation.
Right.
And so, so imagine they want to scare people. What's the best way of doing that? Well,
Abduct them.
probably to get some mean aliens that abduct and could do surgeries on people. And hey, there you go. And then you have like a group of 20 people that have been abducted, and they sound
Hmm.
crazy because no one believes that. What somebody?
Now, are
Yeah.
they being abducted? Is there a group? And I've said this before. There are lower vibrational ETs that made an agreement many decades ago with our government. Are they involved with Earth-based humans involved in this group that are abducting people to put fear into them?
Wait, who are involved? Wait, can you restate your question?
Yeah. Let me put it this way. So we've had people abducted, documented cases, but Bud Hopkins, who's written many books about it, who I met years ago, hypnotized people that were abducted. So what I'm trying to say is that this group of people that you mentioned, the PSYOP group, are they working with lower vibrational extraterrestrials and having them be the front for them to do these abductions?
I'm under the implication though. I don't think, I've actually had some advancement. We've had contact between governments in terms of knowledge. So I was talking to a person who worked like legacy, so like from the 90s. And so he's got the highest form of clearance, which is unnamed. And so basically, you know how like when you get a brief, well, I guess I wouldn't know, but basically, so when I was TS, top secret, I would get briefs, and you'd see a chunk of black lines. You'd see the shape of the craft, usually the longitude, the latitude, the speed it's going, what equipment it's captured on, what data systems, and what telemetry you have on it. So, and what you see is every 5 sentences, black line, black line, black line, or, even sooner than that, a lot of black lines. And that's because everything's redacted. Well, basically for him, he knew everything. He had a complete need to know. So if he was working on the equipment, which he does, he still is he's actually in charge of I'm not going to name a contractor, but the facility. He was actually
we don't need to know the contractor, just the information.
Yeah, he was even the one who got me the I'll say quote unquote invite, the job application. So
really? Okay.
Yeah. So
So you were getting into the testing of this vessel that went to Jupiter with a space person, one of our, like a NASA type person, but somebody different. So and that's something that nobody knows about, folks. This is right here being disclosed on our show, and this will be shared. Can you tell us some more things we haven't talked to you in a while? Some more things now that you've gotten this position that you can tell us that is going on with UAPs, DETs, anything in that realm too that you might be able to share?
We don't have any official contact, but private contractors are working on viable means of contact, and how that's accomplished is they use this thing called a Kozyrev mirror. And what that is it's so much physics behind it. Actually, the guy I was talking to, they thought, who the Y-Files is?
Yeah.
So I won't name the organization, but there's a certain government organization that's paid to, spread disinformation. If you go online and go to the CIA black box, you can find those files easy as day. All you have to do is look. Classified files are majority times available. So 50 years ago, 60 years ago, you can use an example. There's people, 30 years ago, there were people in the CIA that would orchestrate these disinformation campaigns, and they would do a dang good job at it. So do you know who the Y-Files is?
Did you say wild files?
The Y-Files.
The Y-Files. No,
I have never heard of the Y-Files. Why haven't I not heard of that?
So it's a guy on YouTube, and they actually had a meeting about him because this thing it's called the Kozyrev mirror, and it's purely theoretical. It's based on heavily implied quantum physics, which, if you don't know, we're 40 years ahead of physics right now. Like, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's paid off by the CIA.
Oh yeah, he's definitely paid off.
No, I can tell you 100%, like without a doubt, I know that. Like, and he was paid like $750,000 through various of nonprofits that he has. But nonetheless, he's paid to keep people. String theory is basically a fucking myth. That's why there's been no advancement. There's heavy ties to like them, payments and him doing that to be the unsolvable physics problem. And that's why there's no reason we've made advancements on it. It's because it was instilled on purpose to keep people behind. But we have a very intricate knowledge of quantum physics at this point in time. And we've had 30 test flights of vehicles that go outside of our solar system, out of low Earth orbit, out of geosynchronous orbit, completely into space, past 80,000 feet, flying around in space before. They have advanced navigation systems. They have visual and telecommunications on the craft. We can see what they're doing from a home-based operation standpoint.
So wait. Are you saying that we have, when these crafts travel to wherever they're going, we have like live interaction?
Yeah.
Point on point now, no matter how far they are away, technologies with the physics that they're talking, like with you move one atom over here, one nucleus over here.
And the farthest they've gone is Jupiter.
They have cell phones that work on that technology.
Okay, so Andy's asking a question. I just want to make sure people know this is Encounters, the UFO TV talk show, the #1 talk show here with real information. And everyone we have on here, Shai is our guest, and she is our dear friend with the Department of Defense, and she is our person that is our whistleblower for information. You won't get this on CNN News, I can guarantee it. Don't look for it at Fox or MSNBC or News Nation or anybody. We have it here, and so let's go into that whole realm of that question. Continue on, I'm shy, what you were just saying regarding that information that James was responding to.
Hold on, I've got to write out my thoughts because there's a lot of jumble here. There's a lot of stuff I want
Yeah.
to go over.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So you can go ahead and ask. I wrote down some questions or some statements.
I was asking, so as far as we've traveled, is Jupiter, that's the farthest we've traveled now?
That I know of, yeah.
Wow.
I've heard we've gone for way farther than that, but that is so cool. And I thank you so much, Shy, because I'm just tickled pink because you're confirming a lot of stuff that I was leaning toward that I knew was true, and some of my own research. And I think I thank you so much. And I think you were actually put here for us, for some of this disclosure to come out, because you can't say what you can't, anything you're not supposed to.
The funny part of this is I'm not even like, so I don't know if I've gone over an NDA before. I've got multiple, and like everything I'm saying does not violate my NDA at all. So like there's like way more specific stuff that would kind of blow your minds. But I've got it just for my safety. I just don't want anybody to limit themselves. And even France right now, I'll say they've been working on some contact, and it does involve a certain method and something the CE5. I mean, parts of what's
Really?
yeah, I've learned more about that, totally. I've gotten video of it used with a Kazarev mirror. People, it's really weird though. It has this effect. So you walk in. So I talked to an engineer that worked with their attempt at contact, not the French team. I know the French team is doing something involved with it. Not enough that I know of, because they had told the U.S. military earlier this year, which I'm figuring out all this firsthand, and it makes sense to me. Earlier this year, they had a sit-down, basically, with some high levels of people that are involved in the issue, because private contractors are the number one and foremost carrier of all this stuff. They have a majority of it. So when they had this sit-down, and they basically said, how do we combat these things? And it was basically the Space Force asking them this. And they said, how do we combat these things? How do we react? And they said, don't. So I want to tell you that it's not completely hopeless, especially, which I knew this person existed. I just didn't know until I got that, which I got my application, the job application like a week ago. I just, kind of want to hold off until it's like, set in stone, but I'm probably going to. I probably will. I mean, my life insurance policy would be $25 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, and my copay.
If you need a beneficiary.
Yeah, the copay, I got you. Yeah, but I would have zero copay, so I'm kind of excited about that. I'll probably do it.
Now, I'm shy. These French, this is Commander Allen, these French people, and this is the host of the show, the French people, the contact, the person says, can you repeat what you were just saying regarding, you were just getting into it a bit, that there's two French teams, this other team is involved, they're trying to figure out what to do with what's coming. Are you talking regarding the space people that are coming? Can you clarify that a little bit more?
I don't have any date on that. I know that we're being heavily monitored by these people, different races, different people. I mean, they're different species. They're working unanimously. We've seen unmanned drones happen, but I do want to get over the feeling that these people when they feel when they walk into these systems that are made for contact. And most times they're saying orbs of light. That's genuinely the most frequent one. It's really weird. So these orbs, they'll be red. They'll come outside the building facility, and some people go psychotic because it's hard to process. Yeah, I know it's a little weird, and it's because
Wait, what did you call this thing? The what mirror? What was it called again?
the Kazarev mirror.
The Kazaroff?
Kozyrev is how you spell it.
Whoa.
The Wi-Files. Okay, and let me tell you why he got targeted. He was missing like a couple engineering aspects to getting it completely spot on. He got serious. Like, I'm not kidding when I tell you this. He was targeted. But someone of that kind of stature, if he were to go missing, it'd be weird, right? So
it would be weird.
I know they wanted to pay him off. I don't know what ended up happening with it, but considering the consistency of his videos, like, and the fact that he doesn't look to be disinformation yet, like, so there's a lot of disinformation people. Like, Louis, and this might hurt some people's feelings. It really might. And I hate to burst the bubble. I really do. But I mean, he got paid $750,000 cash. This person I'm about to say, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt for the disclosure movement. But Luis Elizondo, if y'all know who that is,
Yeah.
he's disinformation. Yeah,
I knew it.
At first, he was authentic.
I always thought that the dude was shady.
Yeah, and it sucks. It sucks. I mean, and then I saw proof of it, which really sucked. But because I was holding on hope for him, but I was suspicious of him from the beginning, or not the beginning, because in the beginning he was authentic, but then he got contacted by some MI6 guys, and that's usually who does this. Like, there's this crop circle video. The guy comes out afterwards and he says, I can even send you the video later, but it's authentic. I know for a fact it's authentic. And you know me, I'll tell you if something's opinion. It's just I've learned a lot of new information. But anywho, so basically this guy records these orbs in a crop circle, and there was a higher disinformation campaign behind it because crop circles are real. So they had gone out and started trying to make a huge disinformation. They started faking them, started doing crazy stuff, And basically this video is taken by this guy, and afterwards he comes out and says it's fake. Well, this is the 80s, it's 1986, and everything he said was, there was no editing, and what we find out, he gets paid $1 million, $1 million whole dollars in cash, and he gets sent photos of his wife at work, and is kind of forced to come out and say, hey, this is a hoax. And that's how that happens. And that's how easy it is.
That's crazy.
That's how easy it is. That's not a lot of money to them. I mean,
plus,
they will use other means. He only got paid because he was in the public eye. It's the only reason.
Yeah. Are there, and I think I know this to be true, but I'm going to ask you to confirm this because I believe it already. In all the social media, including TikTok, Facebook, what used to be Twitter, are there government agents on all these social medias watching what people are doing if they're providing real information?
Every second of every day. Also, they can hear your phone calls and, okay, let me explain this to you. So the main proprietors of this are the FBI, more than the CIA, but the CIA does it. These are the two biggest places. I would say the NSA, but I'm not totally sure.
Right.
Anywho, so there's a list of words, which I'm not going to say. But, you can think of basic, things that are anti-America, right? I mean, it doesn't take you can imagine kind of things that, I'm talking about here. So there's this database, and what you say is subsequently recorded. And after that, there's a team of about 1,000 to 2,000 people, and these are in different departments all over the U.S. And they go through these audio files, they listen, and they look at the context. And if the context is bad, let's just say for funds, he's going against the U.S. government. Well, you're added to a list, and you're monitored, And something you got to remember is our satellites are billions of dollars. So
they are.
It wouldn't be, we've been tracking Vladimir Putin since 2006. We've known where he's been every second of every day, of every hour, of every minute. We know exactly where he is. We know where every high value target is. And even there are still CIA programs going on right now, and the effectiveness rate of them. I'm talking about remote viewing. Remote viewing is absolutely real. 100 million%. 100 million.
You're exactly right about that. That was the greatest thing that I ever figured out how to do.
Yeah, and so they're using, actually the COSRA mirror comes in handy all the time. Contact and remote viewing. The biggest proprietor is remote viewing. So they use this remote viewing. And it has an effectiveness rate of 85% when figuring out the location. So, and the rest of that percent, I want you to realize, isn't like them missing the location. It's them being at the location and getting some rooms wrong, right? And then the percent of them being able to make out a conversation is 70. So, but 70% is a lot. So if you're hearing 70% of and they've tested this. So what they had done is they'd had a facility set up, and they had to use this, and they, obviously things come out as a percent. And so they had these facilities set up, 2 different facilities basically. And so they use this technology, and another person with cards and symbols drawn on them go to that other facility. They map out the facility, the remote viewer does, and he says the cards. 70 to 85% or 95% of that time, he's getting the cards right. And then afterwards, they get him to hold up a card with some words on it. or they get them to say some words. And so they say these words, and it comes out to 70 to 75%. And so 70% of words is a lot of words. So there's
Yeah.
spaces that you can easily fill out, right?
Yeah.
You can fill out the blank. So if I say, I am walking to, in let's say New York City, then you know that there's one word for you to fill out, right? So, yeah,
You know,
and I
I
didn't
mean, it's
necessarily believe that until I met the people I did, which I had been told by other people and private contractors, but I had to wait, you know, and see some evidence.
There are people. I've had remote viewers on my show. One in New York State, another two or three of them actually over the last number of months. So that's very interesting. And there's a lot of that going on. There are people in here saying I've remote viewed before. I'm sure people have gone to classes about there are ways to learn how to do that. I don't know how to do that, but there are people that are doing it.
Oh yeah, and you know, and a lot of large, and you can do it, but the biggest part is the technology behind it. You know, this technology. Oh, I really like
Wait,
that background.
what do you mean technology behind remote viewing?
Yeah, that's
Like
interesting.
the Kozarev mirror is the biggest piece of technology they've used for contact and remote viewing. That's why I'm mentioning it so much
Is
because
this
I've
thing like a Stargate? Like,
no, it's not really like
listen, I'm not gonna lie. You say the Kazarok mirror, I'm picturing something out of a movie. Like this big glass, weird looking thing that you could
I think
walk through and move
What is
through.
that? What is the Kozarok mirror? What is that?
well, okay, so basically it was stolen from the Russians, the Soviets in particular, and yeah, we snatched it from them after the, you know, so the work is focused on the idea that time is physical, right? So there's a measurable quantity of it rather than just an abstract concept.
Yeah.
So there's proposals that there's certain astronomical objects, you know, such as a rotating black hole or a collapsing star, that will create a region of space-time with unique properties. And this property was referred to as a time cone. So in this theoretical framework, which is called a time cone, the Kozarev mirror would be able to would be the object in question that could manipulate or interact with these time cones. So it could access these time cones. So it could theoretically take a look at events, and if you're in it, it takes about 20 minutes. For the first 5 minutes, you go in it, and the unanimous thing that they talk about is the utter feeling of dread. You feel utter dread.
Wow.
DREAD. They scan your brain waves.
What do you think that is?
I have zero idea. I asked him, but he didn't want to talk about it.
So when he walked in, he just had this natural feeling of dread, you say?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know, that's crazy.
They must be dipping into some dark stuff.
No, yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, without a question.
There's some more stuff I'm holding out on. Like, this isn't even a fraction of what I've learned.
Yeah.
I was actually read in. I was sat
Shai,
in,
would you say that there's a supernatural part to this, or it's all just scientific that we don't understand? Or do you think there's more, like something else behind it all?
You know, that's a good question. And that's one I'm not fully confident answering, but I'll give you an opinion. I think that there's deep-rooted things in theoretical physics and quantum physics that we simply do not understand. And I think when there are people like Commander or Grace or you that are more in tune, you are able to, I don't know what it is, but there are people that are more keen to it. I'll tell you that, particularly people who meditate.
And would you say that people like, I mean, I've known this for years. We had a situation years ago where there was my now wife, we had a situation years ago before we were married, that in her apartment, these beings came, they were in her room, and we came back from somewhere, and we came in, she saw these two beings, they were humanoid, and they were human, and they saw her, and then they just disappeared, like they just disappeared. The next morning, there was a helicopter, unmarked, all the way up in the sky with looked like many antennas just sitting there hovering over the apartment complex, way up. monitoring us. And this is before TikTok existed and all this stuff. So I know from a non-social media point, we were being monitored then. And I would suspect this show is getting monitored a little bit because of what we're doing, which is doing something. My radio show is one thing, but doing this and exposing the truth and being from a place where I have complete knowledge of where I come from, who I am, and have information about people that I get automatically. You wouldn't know this. There was a woman on Amshai the other night. Her name is Dusty Mama, and we talked to her, and I had information for her. She told her little 4-year-old kid told her if she had blue and green beings. The kid is amazing. He said to me this morning, I was on live, he said there were 20, he counted up to 20 beings in the room. This kid is like, and the mother, was on, and she was listening. I was listening to the child tell me about the mother. So I told her she's had sightings of the same crafts over her location for the last 2 or 3 days. I told her I was getting my contact off planet Kadar Manka, who I've told you about. It's a direct contact. I don't channel anything. I don't play those games. And I've been in touch with him before the internet. And he said to her, she needs to get ready. They're going to take her on board a ship. So she's not afraid. Her son's not afraid. I never tell anybody they're going to be taken on a ship. I never have. But she is going to be taken with her son on a ship. And they're not being abducted. These are positive beings that are taking her. And I got information for her. You're going to be taken on their ship into the universe. They're going to take you to their planet and then take you back. I said, I don't know when it's going to happen, but you're going to be leaving and you'll be gone for a few days. I mean, I had so much information on that I was just like, so I'm sharing that with you because it relates to somehow I went from my experience years ago and then flipped over to her thing. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm pretty sure I've been monitored for a lot of years in my radio show and everything I'm doing here, but I don't care because, the fact that you're here is confirmation that we're doing the right thing and we're here all together trying to expose the cover up. And that's really the important thing, right?
Yeah, and the greatest thing about that is I don't even sound like this. This isn't my actual voice. I told you I took precautions. I would never. I'm like, when I tell you, like, I'm very safe. I'm very safe. Like,
I believe that. So
do
you have a voice modulating system that can change your voice to sound like whatever you want it to be?
I won't say it just to keep them guessing.
Guys,
It's okay.
Guy's really 56-year-old bald man.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it on the money.
She is 56.
I mean,
I didn't know,
no.
James, you are just right on the money. She's 56 years old. She's a bald man, and she talks like that, folks.
Exactly. No, but actually, I saw somebody in the chat, which I think is really funny because they use this as training. So the Osama bin Laden issue, yeah, it took a real long time. You know why it took a long time? We had deep integration into his loyalists. We were watching his exact movements, and we waited towards the time. In the first 7 years, we had seen him be lowest on his troop in reinforcement. That was when we moved in. We had known where he was the entire time, which we actually use that's something called opportunity training. That was what you learn when you first go through military school. When you're working with satellites or drones, you look at the most opportune entrances. You work out the most opportune entrances, the latitude, longitude, which time they're most least guarded, and then you listen in. You gather data, you gather intel, and you do that through a variety of different methods. Usually, like the CIA or the DIA, and so they'll have people, and they'll listen, they'll plot, and they'll try to get these people to loosen up defense. Like, for example, the CIA will pay people to give them guns, and they'll pay them guns, right? Or they'll pay them money to give guns to these people, the Taliban or whatever you want to call them, just for example purposes, just a group to put a face behind. But we'll just say Osama bin Laden's loyalists. So they would give them great deals, right? And that's what they did. They had given them the greatest deals, and they had lured them out there in mass because of the amount of weaponry that they were selling, and then they had moved in and they had subsequently terminated them. It was calculated.
Now, that things you bring up Iraq on the galactic cosmic level. There are ancient structures in Iraq, just like in Egypt. Are there things there that are ancient in terms of ET history? And the real reason we went in there is to confiscate those areas.
Yeah, and also I want you to realize that Sumerian culture had place in Iraq. So, and Sumerians were very involved. We've even found, like, now this I can't completely verify, but it was the same person who told me everything else that I could verify. So I don't have
Hmm.
any reason to suspect you're lying. And also, I've gotten this
Hmm.
corroborated from many other people. We've found under certain temples and certain structures in South America and even in the Middle East, UAP, like metamaterial UAP, dug and buried.
Are you
But
saying that we found spaceships buried in beneath the ground in the Middle East and some other areas?
well, yeah, by places of historical significance.
Hmm. And would these be a full-length craft that we found that were, for whatever reason, they were under the ground? They were there.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they fully operational? Do you know, or were
I
they
wouldn't know that.
taken out?
They were
Okay.
definitely and also I want you to realize the U.S. can do anything it wants. We can go anywhere, other than places like Russia, North Korea, and China. But we can go
Yeah.
anywhere. Any of those places, we have full reign because nobody tells the U.S. to get away, because
Right.
we gave Ukrainians the bare minimum, bare bone technology, and we have ace in the hole tech that can go to places in 2 minutes, drop a nuclear bomb. We'll have the radar tick size of a quarter. They won't even know we're there. They won't know a
Wow,
clue.
that's crazy.
And you know why? That's because the paint on these things is infused with metamaterials that were taken off a spacecraft. And that's
Wow.
where the stealth capabilities of things are crazy. So they won't even, they don't see us on radar. No country, not a single one will be able to identify us. And we can do it in
Yeah.
2 minutes, and we can say it's their nukes that went off. It wasn't ours. Because that's called probable deniability.
Right.
Protects us from a lot of
We
things.
seem to know. We seem to know. I'm sure how to do that kind of backtracking and lying and so forth, and get away with it.
Shy, are you saying that that's how we're that far? The U.S. government is that far advanced on the UAP side?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
We are more advanced than any other country will be, and we. I was actually, I don't know if you remember, but the F-35 that went missing. I was actually hold of. No, it was just the guy being not smart. I
Yeah.
don't know the specifics, but I know me and a couple other agencies had to sit in and we had to report all the things because I had searched the entire. And so we had been looking for it, and we knew that we found the debris. So it wasn't a big deal, but it was just that's a big mess up, because that's the most that fighter is 10 times more advanced than anything China or Russia
Wow.
has. That stealth capability, nothing's gonna sneak
Yeah.
up on it. It has top of the line radar equipment. So say which in combat like MiGs are usually
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
big boys. So
And I just want to do a little break for just a moment. This is Shai, our friend in the DOD. She actually is a real person in the DOD, folks, who are saying, what's going on here? You're watching Encounters. James, my co-host, is here. I want to take a gifting break for just a moment. If you support the things we're doing as a host of the show here on TikTok, I do the radio show for 20 years at NPR Pacifica Radio. Please, thank you, Kit Kat. Please do like Kit Kat's doing. Show me some love in what we're doing here. We're here to break the matrix, expose the government cover-ups, and we're going to do it on this show. It's not going to be done on the major media, on your cable channels. It's going to be done here on my show and right here on TikTok. So please show your love. We have over 200 people in here. I'm sure there's enough people. Go to my Venmo account if you wish to go there. You can make a donation to my Cash App at Venmo on the Commander Allion 2022. There's a link there. Go to my Venmo right now. Those that can afford to do that, make some donations there. Become a subscriber to my TikTok. We have 33. I want to get 100 subscribers so we can raise enough money to get a third generation goggle for our Ashtar Command CE5 group. Thank you, KitKat, for that. So as Shai is talking, I want people throughout the show to definitely. I want us to get up to at least 30,000 likes. Please follow. There's 192 people in here. I'm sure not everybody's following me on TikTok. Everyone follow each other, follow the show, and when we're on, you'll definitely get an algorithm that tells you we're on here. But this is really so important. So as Shai is now continuing on, our contact in the DOD with top security clearance, please show your support for what we do here with gifts. It could be small gifts, big gifts, whatever you want to throw through the screen. Do it through the show, and please tap that screen. I know we can get up to 30,000 before 1 o'clock in the morning. So let's do that. Let's make it happen. James is my co-host, and I'm going to turn it back to Shai here on our special edition of disclosure information here on this show. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. She can see them on the screen here, and we will certainly do our best, and she'll do her best to answer those questions within reason. I'm Shai, back to you. I'm Commander Alion, your host right here on the #1 UFO talk show on social media.
Yeah, and our stealth bombers. Someone mentioned the paint I saw. Yeah, the paint, our stealth bombers. There's a reason, so I don't know if you remember, but China had tried to replicate it, and they're actually not half bad. I was a little impressed, but you know what they can't do? They don't have our radar capabilities. They can't hide. Those things have zero. We could detect it, miles away. It's not getting close. So that's where we shine, because we have these material R&D researchers. These private corporations, and we're completely stealthed. There's no radar in this world that is going to catch us, unless it's the UAPs, of course. Which the theory is the way that they detect things is a form of LiDAR, but this LiDAR is almost like their photographs, right? So the LiDAR emitted it can see the follicle of your hair, so it could see that from wherever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those UAP are scanning using that. So it has super high depth.
So there's a lot of UAPs, and are there active Stargates in Iraq? Well, there's probably in other countries. Have we actually found? We've seen the sci-fi movie the Stargate. Remember the Stargate series that was on years ago on cable, and they found these Stargates. They go through these Stargates, and they end up somewhere else. Do we have active Stargates that we have either found that are activated, that if they go through them, it'll take them somewhere else beyond our planet?
I wouldn't know that, but in fairness, I haven't asked. If I ask from these multiple, the way I deduce is I go off of documentation, photo, and video. And so if I go around and I ask and they all corroborate, I'll tell you an opinion. But unless I see a photo or video of it or documentation, I'm 100%. Majority of the stuff I've said all of it really, has been stuff I can verify. So someone just said harp.
Someone in the chat.
Find out. I'd like to know the next time you're on here about active Stargates. If you can collaborate any real information on that.
I will let you know.
Okay, and that's all I can ask for. I know you're good at that. I put it out now, so whenever it's a month later, whenever it happens, you'll know and you'll tell us. So I have no question about that. Go ahead, James.
Somebody in the chat was asking if you knew anything about this mass message they're going to be hanging out or sending out to everybody, and they're worried about it.
Yeah, it's nothing big. Y'all are going to be all right. There's no need to be worried about that. That's just them testing out their new alert system. So because usually it's state, not federal. So this time it'll go to every phone. It's not just a state issuing warning. So that's all it is. There's no need to be worried.
I'll get James back in there in a minute. Anchor Ann, this is Commander Alion. She's asking you, how can we be going to Jupiter and no one noticing? So I guess he's saying, how does nobody notice or know about it?
There's a very good reason. It leaves Earth's orbit in less than 30 seconds.
Less than 30 seconds.
Even
and it's not
less than that. I wouldn't know the exact ones because I didn't launch the equipment, but I gave the go-ahead for. I stopped all commercial traffic. I orchestrated with air traffic controllers that were going to be in the area there, so that there would be no commercial flights. And if you know what happens if there are commercial flights, an F-35 is immediately dispatched, or a MiG jet is immediately dispatched to intercept, and they'll throw flares at them, or, I mean, they gotta shoot them down. They gotta shoot them down.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
it's very.
crazy.
You're not. No one's gonna see this because these are done at the. This was at like I believe it was 5:00. Yeah, today.
Today.
5 p.m.
So
Yeah.
at 5:00 today, we sent a spaceship up up to Jupiter.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, we've done that 30 times this year. That's not even crazy to me anymore.
Launched this from. Can you give us the coordinates?
Absolutely not.
Was it this continent?
Yeah. It was. Yeah. The U.S.
Was it
the
near
United
Cape
States.
Canaveral or any of those places? I'm sorry.
No, it was in the middle of the U.S. That's all I can
Wow.
figure out.
Okay, so
And
it's
they
probably
just
in the
shot that
Midwest.
thing straight up to Jupiter.
Yeah.
And folks, get this. There was a human being with a spacesuit on going there.
Who is this guy? We got to meet this guy.
You know the qualifications to actually do one of these flights. You have to be in the Air Force with experience leading for 10 years. You have to be flying jets for another 10. So you have to have 20 years of experience, and they're all Air Force guys, usually.
Yeah.
So. It's
Yeah.
100% going to be Air Force guys. So, and these aren't
So
U.S.
these
bases.
people,
These are private contractors doing this.
private contractors. How do they choose the person that's going to be trained to go to Jupiter?
Whoever they got the
They
most
don't need
dirt
to be
on.
trained. They don't need to be trained. There's no you think International Space Station, but International Space Station's still far behind. They're not floating.
That thing was built in like the 70s.
Yeah, they don't even need
compared to where we are now.
They have suits, but in theory, if the suits didn't work, they would be fine.
Yeah. So when they're going to, are they going to do more journeys with people to like Jupiter, Saturn, and all these places?
Yeah, they've done 30 this year. 30
flights.
They've done 60 unmanned.
And where have, in general, can you give more specifics now? If there have been 30 this year, where have they gone to?
Usually Jupiter? Just checkpoints in our solar system. Mars. I mean, they'll come right back. They'll test them.
Wait, are they going out there and leaving a probe or something where they go? Or
I wouldn't know about that. I could try to figure it out. I doubt I'd get that information. Yeah. But I know for a fact they're just doing testing. They're trying to see how long they can sustain this deep sea flight, or what am I saying, deep sea flight? Yeah. This deep space flight. And they even have, if there's,
go ahead.
There's some pretty graphic videos of two of these having critical failure.
Like people getting their bodies spliced.
The vacuum. So there's a vacuum created, and there was an implosion, and that's yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it can reduce, but that's 2 out of 30 of the manned flights.
2 out of 30. That's not a lot.
That's not.
So this is another question. This is Encounters, and I have a question. This is Commander Alan, your host, James, my co-host. So have any of these 30 spacecraft that have been sent out into different parts of our solar system or universe, have they had been encountered by spaceships or UFOs or things like that?
Not that I know of, but I know for a fact our drones have and our satellites have. We've had satellites that just have a UAP right in front of them looking at it. Sometimes we'll lose all tracking of and visual of the satellites, and we fail to recover them. So maybe there's a collision.
Are the UAPs the bigger UAPs taking our satellites?
We wouldn't know. We lose all tracking capability and visual telemetry.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hey, somebody in the...
I meant to say deep space. I'm sorry, that was a...
Yeah. Well, shoot, deep space and deep sea, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know about the sea. I'm sure if UAP do it, we can do it as well. Not at the same... Yeah. For instance, the metal, we can't replicate that. We can try to take things from, coding and implement it into paint, and which really helps us with radar. We can't, that's why I know in fiber optics, fiber optics was being used in the 70s, and we got that from UAP.
I knew it.
Yeah.
How about CD technology? Where CD technology come from UAPs too?
I wouldn't know about that.
But probably, I would say that remote control units, the remotes that we used to turn on our TV sets, that had to be also UAP.
Well, funny enough, we actually, our first, I don't know if you know the Tic Tac incident, that was Lockheed Martin. Basically, that was a Lockheed Martin.
The one that was like shifting and moving.
Yeah, it has antennas on the bottom, and it's
Yeah,
Like
it's for altitude. Yep, that's it.
yeah.
That was actually a calibration flight, and you know the first prototypes of that and the spheres that that Lockheed Martin implements, where they had an RC plane controller that they had been flying it with. Yeah,
Really?
it's it's on display in their facility.
Someone mentioned that Ugly Drum says people need to know wormholes are real. So
They are,
let's talk about wormholes. Have we had any of these craft go or get near a wormhole in space in our solar system?
We've seen entire fleets spit out from quote unquote wormholes, but they don't work the same way that people think. They implement. I gave you this principle earlier. They implement torsion.
Yeah.
Right. So so imagine. I wish you had a piece of paper next to you. Do you think you can get one?
I can. Hold on. I got a whole office over there. Hold on.
My co-host is going to get a piece of paper. And you're watching Encounters, the late night UFO talk show, and disclosure is really what we're about. Our guest is Shy. She's with the DOD. She has high security clearance. And this is the only show on beyond cable news, beyond any social media, beyond YouTube. Right here, this is the place. You want to make sure your friends know about our show. We talk about encounters. We talk about people's experiences being visited by space people. And we talk about this very important subject, which Shy is committed to, which is disclosure of top secret information on the show here. So, yeah, you're watching Encounters. James is going to get this piece of paper. And,
so sorry. It's like Waterworld trying to find some decent paper around here.
Well, you're in Florida. That's why it's like Waterworld.
You found so much have you seen so much paper in your life? Oh, shit. Hold on.
Yeah, and everybody in the comments thinks they know how the principle works. It doesn't work like that, guys. That's just how it's theorized.
Here's the paper.
Okay, awesome.
Now Shy is responding to some questions. Go ahead.
So go all the way back, all the way back. We need to see a full piece of paper. Well, can you back up some? Perfect. Okay, now hold it horizontal.
Like that?
Yep, horizontal. So flip it one more time.
Horizontal.
One more time. Okay, now fold it back towards you. There you go. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to hold your middle finger and your other middle finger in the mid and at the far ends of this paper, just like that. Yeah, just like that. Now what I want you to do is I want you to flip it one time, and it's not going to go how everybody thinks it's going to go. Now flip it like the other way. Or actually, yeah, just like that. Yeah, just like that. You did it right. So flip it in half. Okay. It's not going to go how you think it is. I promise. Yep. And now fold it halfway. So it's stacked on top of each other, so it's symmetrical. Yeah, that works. That works. Yeah. So now what I want you to do is crumple it up until your fingers touch. Twist it if you can.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Now twist it until your fingers touch. Yep, just like that.
Okay.
Now you can start scrumpling it together. You can start pushing it toward itself.
I'm getting there. There. Like this?
Okay, now do it until your fingers touch. Now crumple it together.
Okay. It looks like a bow.
That's how it works. Okay. It's not as organized as people think it is. That's exactly how it works. It's torsion. And basically you're moving through space-time at a rate where you're unaffected, and it spits you out at the other end.
Guys. Yeah, Stephen Hawking don't have caca on me.
That's how I can somebody asked my credentials. So I went to, I'm not going to name the military institution, but I went to a military school.
Who's doubting credentials here? I got a damn piece of paper in my hand that can go through space and time. That's all you need to know.
Okay, so I work as a geospatial analyst. I worked in the Department of Defense for 6 years. I got a 191 out on my ASVAB. I have my bachelor's degree in geospatial sciences. My major was image analysis, and what else can I say that'll verify me? I don't know. I work with remote sensing satellites. I can tell you the exact number we're utilizing, which is 5,550. What else? I don't know. I don't know what else
look that up in James' book of information.
Plenty of factual information on encounters. And
Shy, you're going to lose your breath trying to prove to these naysayers. Don't even waste your time.
I think they were just curious, but they're good. I know the person. But Yeah. So, go ahead. Continue on. I forgot what we were talking about now.
No,
We were
but yeah.
talking about this movement, the paper, the paper.
So long story short, it's a jumbled mess. That's what quantum physics is. It's not this cold and calculated, decisive method of the flipping the paper and then stabbing a pencil through it. It sort of works that same way, but really how it works is it creates a sense of torsion, and ideally it would look a lot more neat. But it's okay. It's a piece of paper, and it
This
would just
paper.
fold and fold and fold until your fingertips, theoretically, these 2 points in time, are touching, and thus you erase the going faster than light principle. So you don't have to do that because you're just jumping through these distances in space-time practically by erasing the distance between you and that point, if that makes sense. I'm really trying to explain it simply, so everybody
Mm-hmm.
understands.
Yeah. No, that's good. Simple
Oh
is
my
good.
gosh. Message from the universe, guys. You you are here.
There we go. Oh, everybody should be doing the CE5 method, by the way. 100%.
Yeah. And we have 209 people in here. Everybody download the CE5 app since Amshai just mentioned it. Everybody who does not know what it is or doesn't have it, I'm telling you, for $10 or $9.99, you can download it on your Apple, on your iPhone on Apple. And if you have Android phones, download it on Google Play. Get it, learn how to use it. There's protocol in there. It
And
does work. It really
even
does work.
even if you don't want to do that, you seriously don't have to. All you
Yeah.
need to do, there's a whole level of consciousness that's like, and I was very hesitant on the idea. I don't know if you remember me talking about it. I told you in my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't know. The first time I was ever on this thing, but I've subsequently gotten it proven to me, unfortunately. I guess not unfortunately, but through different means and methods. And which, look, I'm not a big fan of Greer. Everybody, please don't take it that way.
No,
He's
that's all right.
he's
That's
which
okay. He's kind of creepy to me too.
well, he has got his wholeheartedness, but unfortunately, there are people that have targeted him um, in the means of disinformation, and unfortunately, he doesn't know that. But
Yeah.
some of the stuff he says is true. But
Yeah. Some of it is.
I don't like to affiliate myself with these figures. I like to talk about what I know. But I just
Yeah,
know the
that's
basis
the
of
way it
that
should be.
method,
Just go with your own
getting
knowledge.
in
What
tune.
the heck was that? Hold on a second. That truck almost crashed.
Thank you for the Star
Well,
Adventures, Trisha Hours. Thank you.
Trisha, that was amazing. Thank you. Sorry, Shy.
no, that was awesome. That was a cool little gift.
I never saw that before.
I
Me
never did.
neither.
I don't think I saw that before. But go ahead, I'm shy. You were saying
Yeah, where was I? I'm sorry.
you were talking about now I'm C5 about Dr. Greer.
Oh yeah, you can if you're into okay, the people that are most adaptable, like when we put them in those situations for remote viewing, they're always the people who have meditated before, are calm and are relaxed. Because I mean, when you again, you feel this like really with the technology, you just feel this really I don't know what this sense of dread comes from, but it's some
Yeah.
really scary stuff. Like, and it's unanimously reported. The
Mm-hmm.
neuron network in your brain or the neural network in your brain. I'm sorry, excuse me. That matches up with fear is lit up like a Christmas tree. They
Yeah.
start to experience paranoia
Mm-hmm.
while they're there for about 5 minutes um, when this happens, and eventually they calm down. But there's this just super intense, fearful response, like almost like you're the best way to relate it to is if you're I'll just say an injured animal in a injured person in a cave
Yeah.
by yourself, and you have no way of getting saved. That's the best way to equate it to. That's that kind of fear, that
Ooh.
primal, Preolithic type fear.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, naturally, you're walking into the Twilight Zone.
But it's
It's
like it's like
it.
uncanny. It's not like a normal natural reaction. It's a
Oh,
unanimous. You could be the most prestige remote viewer in the CIA, which they still do, by the way. They have many different groups in the CIA that do this. It's because it's so effective. It's the best piece of, it's the best piece of spy equipment we have. And I genuinely
Mm.
mean that. It's kind of crazy to say that. Like, we have satellites that can listen to conversations via Wi-Fi router and look at what you're doing in your room. We can even predict with AI what your face looks like, or how you're standing, your blood pressure, how hard
Mm-hmm.
your heart is beating, if you're lying, and we can do all
Mm-hmm.
of that. But the
Do our
best
Ooh.
satellites know what? Did the satellites know that we're on right now and that we're all talking to each other? They
it
probably
doesn't really
do.
work like that. You have to have a
Okay.
target, and if you have a
Okay.
target, then
Target.
they'll subsequently look for you, and
Oh, okay.
they can then identify you via biometrics. So like
All
they know
right.
how your heart is or how hard on average how
Wow, that's
fast it
crazy.
beats. Yeah, and your facial mannerisms, and they can see you through walls. I'm
Sure.
just gonna say it bluntly. These are multi-billion.
They
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
they
Multi-billion-dollar
can
pieces of
see
equipment.
through walls.
Yeah, you can see in your room
That's
probably right now if
crazy.
they wanted to.
Hey, Shy, remember? Did you see the Batman movie where they had that technology that was based off of like sonar? They could see everything. Is it kind of
Um,
like that?
I I can probably look up the movie scene after I'm done and tell you another time.
Yeah,
I
look,
mean,
it's a scene with Morgan Freeman.
okay.
Someone's
Anyway,
asking
they
though,
have this
Shy, that
technology, so
if
I'm
someone's
picturing
asking,
it like that. But it uses cell phones. It uses like the cell phones and everybody's TVs and cameras and
Oh
every
yeah,
piece of
that's true.
technology.
That is 100% happening. Yeah, it doesn't show
if
like
someone,
exactly what you're doing unless it has the camera. Sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah,
interrupt. I'll just finish it
no,
real
go ahead.
quick. So unless
Okay,
you're
answer his question, then I got somebody asking you a question.
gotcha, and unless it has a camera, usually it'll make an outline via signals like RF for one of them. You can do it with anything, mainly
Hmm.
what your Wi-Fi would give off. But so anybody with any type of internet, they can see your outline if they
Yeah.
wanted to. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Now
doing
this
something they
person,
can look at right now.
well, this person is asking Tracy Faith on our show asks, did we really land on the moon back in the day?
um, Probably. Well, I'm 50-50.
That,
Honestly,
yeah,
I'm 50-50. We were in a race, right? So
yeah.
in terms of me verifying if they did or didn't, I'm under
I
the
think that's what
implication
they're asking.
they didn't. I
Yeah,
think they visited. I think they've made man
yeah.
visits. But I don't know if that was one of them. I don't know.
Now, speaking of
Maybe
which,
not in the 60s and 70s.
well, speaking of which, NASA has these people trained now that supposedly are going back to the moon.
That's
Do you
real.
think is that going to really happen?
Yeah. I've actually undergone some of the training operations. Specifically,
Really?
Whoa.
they had a. I'm actually really excited you asked that. I never thought I'd talk about this last year. But basically, they had this training operation in an ocean, which I won't name because it's part of my NDA. But and so they had this piece, a replica of what they're going to be landing in, or what their capsule will be like, and they land in the water. So like if they come back to Earth out of orbit, that's what they're training
Hmm.
for. And so
Yeah.
they basically did this training mission. The Coast Guard was involved. We were involved. Everybody was satellite. We even had drones over the area, just to
Wow.
recover them. And
Yeah.
so they're basically dropped in the water off the ship, and we leave them out there for about 5-10 minutes, and they have to get out on their own, and they do it. And so it was
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Here's another thing. Speaking of NASA, I want to see if you can tell us some stuff here. Just a couple of days ago, I think it was last week, NASA, their UFO group or whatever, had a public press conference where they
Oh, such
basically
a
said
joke.
absolutely they basically said nothing. It was like 10 a.m. Can you give us any insights as to
Yeah.
why they had a press conference and said absolutely nothing, and they really gave no information? What's going on with that?
If you think the people in control of NASA on paper are in control of NASA, you got another
Yeah.
thing coming. And also, something I read every single page of that report. You know what they took out to make every single one of those quote unquote make sense, which they didn't account for the fact that they came in from 80,000 feet in altitude or went underwater at 296 miles per hour. But you know what they did when they were just, on wind? Number one, they avoided the Global Climate Association's actual records for the day. And number two, they took out one thing that would completely dismantle it. It'd be like taking out gravity. They took out
Hmm.
wind. They took out wind to make these make sense. So,
Hmm.
and even after, they still can't say what they are.
Hmm.
It's a joke. They're a joke. They have a
Yeah, I
department.
was
Yeah,
watching it
But
just shaking my
it was.
head.
they've got
It
a
was a
department of
joke.
500 people that are actively working on covering images. So, I mean,
Yeah. Are there any people in NASA that were like really annoyed with the fact that these people got up there in the press conference? Are there people in NASA that want, like you, in the intelligence communities, want disclosure and are fed up with these people?
they're more civilian based, so we don't really have cooperation with them.
Okay.
But we were all we on the same day that press conference was, is we were all together, actually going over training on how to, funny enough, recover a
Yeah.
lost jet, even though we did horribly. And you know why we did horribly? Because those things cannot be picked up on radar because they are coated with metamaterial. Just so you know,
Yeah.
F-35s are coated with
Yeah.
metamaterial. Anywho, so
Yeah.
you know,
Interesting.
and we were all making fun of that press conference. Every single person that worked with satellites and drones, we were all
Yeah.
making fun of them because we thought it was
See?
hilarious.
See, NASA? We're all making fun of you for being what you are, just exactly the
Because
liars
we
that
know
you
they're
always tend to
lying.
be.
They
Yeah.
have 1,000 more cases than that they could have shown. They could have shown when a UAP approached one of their Voyagers and hit it offline and they couldn't recover it, and they said
Yeah.
that they just lost communication because it tilted the wrong way. They could
Yeah.
say that, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm sorry. They can also, so many times on YouTube, people have recorded, and it's NASA doing their own selves in, where they have a transmission from the International Space Station, and UAPs are flying around near the space station, and all of a sudden the transmissions are cut off.
Yeah.
Or they're not cut off, and they didn't cut it off, and they're recorded, and people have those recordings of them showing these UAPs,
And you know those things
right?
are so powerful. And you know what they had done? This was actually last year. Speaking of, and we had a similar incident where they had taken control of Russian missile defenses.
Right.
But so pretty much what had happened is, you know, we had seen UAPs at the same exact time, and this was a pretty tense moment. This was really
Hmm.
Russia's Ukrainian invasion was kind of, you
Yeah.
know, picking up a little bit. So, which also, I want to tell you that, I guess it doesn't matter. But anywho,
Yeah.
so,
Go for it.
well, I was going to tell you that we're providing, well, actually, I'm gonna retain. It's probably, I probably shouldn't say that.
I know you wanted to do it, and I'm the kind of schmoozer that would get you to say it, but no, don't do it. You know, by the way, ElRobert, he used to be high security clearance on Area 51, is in the room with us, and he used to work at Area 51 for about 3 years.
Oh, that's cool. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
He said to ask you about the B-50, the B-21s.
B-21s.
Yeah, they have metamaterial on them. Yeah, the bombers.
Yeah,
They have metamaterial.
yeah,
All of these things,
yeah,
and you know why they're new age. You know, these things are. It's really funny. The development actually began. I think I'm sure he's referring to the Raider, which
yeah.
I've actually had a lot of input on because I actually work with people who are developing it. But anywho,
I gotta
and
hold up.
yeah, they're
That,
using. Yeah, I'm careful. Don't worry. Don't worry. But yeah, they're actually using metamaterials in the paint, and I'm sure if you work in
Yeah,
Area 51, you know about the use of metamaterials and the core significance in it and stealth.
yeah.
Yep.
He's saying 692 million each.
Yeah.
He told us. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
crazy stuff.
There's some bad things. Their radar cross section is extremely tiny as well. I'm not going to speak on it.
isn't it like the size of a bird or something like
Now,
that?
I'm going to also share information with you on encounters. I'm shy. ElRobert, who was on my show a while ago, had stated that there are people still in Area 51, top security clearance people that he worked with, and he said that the first of the new year, that these people, this grouping of people, and ElRobert, you can make a sentence in there, is that still on, that they're going to go public with top secret information from Area 51. Essentially, they're going to spill the beans. Have you heard anything about that, Amshai? I know, Robert, if you want to mention that again about the New Year's Day disclosure of Area 51 in general, please, give us a message here that we can share. So it's
That'd be
still on.
super
He's saying,
cool.
a matter of fact, I'll bring him on.
Okay,
I
cool.
think this would be kind of cool to
Oh
bring
yeah, this
him
would be
on.
fun.
So you're with the DOD and you're a friend, and Robert's my friend from formerly with Area 51. So I want to
Hi, Robert.
introduce Robert to
Hi, how are
you.
you?
And hey, Robert, how you
I'm
doing,
doing
buddy?
great.
Good. Just a little preface here. So everything that I stipulated to the host, I provided my actual credentials, so he knows that, and I showed them on the live,
Right.
with my camera. So I showed them everything that I did with all of my military credentials, so everybody knows I was on the up and up.
So what's your clearance?
It was top
It
secret.
was. It was top secret. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I did not have a ultra top secret. I was a top secret.
Okay, cool. So what did you work on? Like, were you engineering, R&D?
Do you know what NDT is?
NDT? No.
Non-destructive testing.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I was a non-destructive testing engineer, if you will. So if you're familiar with that, I mean, if people in the chat or in the chat who are not familiar with it, if you want to explain that to them, if not, I can do that.
Either one.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, go ahead,
Go
Rob.
for it.
Well,
So,
okay. Well, wait, are you?
oh no, go ahead.
Well, all I know is about the integrity of engineering and how to keep it safe without any structural discontinuities or anything like that. But I don't really know anything about that field, so I would love to hear some more. I just know it's about
No, yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm not challenging you in any way. I just popped into the conversation. So my forte was well, back then was non-destructive testing. So we would use. There's a couple of things I'm not going to mention, but crystals, radiation, to you could actually look into, let's say, airframe as thin as a sheet of paper and see if there's any uh, gas pockets, any cracks, things of that nature. So that's what me and my team would do. We would check for, and like you said, discontinuities within the craft.
Yeah, and I actually, I didn't understand the terminology at first, but I do now. Yeah, so that's used on the outer perimeter of satellites as well. Yeah, and aircraft inspection as well. So I understand.
Well, it's not just aircraft. I mean, we're talking about missile systems, helicopters, tanks, anything. Because you don't want to send something up into outer space and then have there be some sort of defect and then it falls apart.
So where are you now? Are you out of service or are you working for a contractor? Are you working?
Oh, no. I'm retired military.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's retired now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm retired. I'm retired Air Force.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's
So I
also
was actually
a world-renowned DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I write music now.
He's a music man.
I write music now just for fun, but unfortunately, I'm successful at that. But my AFSC in the military, so like in the Army and the Marines, I'm not sure about the Navy, but they have what's called an MOS, their job description. But in the Air Force, it's called the AFSC, Air Force Specialty Code. I was a 43152/53 Tactical Airlift Bombardment Maintenance Specialist, Non-Destructive Technician.
And your PIN number was what? Hold on, I'm writing all this.
43152/53.
He's messing with you, Robert.
Oh, okay.
We're having a good show tonight, so we got to keep it rolling.
Robert, we have a lot of new people in here. So, can you tell people again about the New Year's thing that we've talked about? I think that's also really important now that we're getting close to the end of the year.
I have a question as well to preface.
Go ahead.
Are they providing evidence to the Inspector General, Intel Committee? Who are they doing this through?
I'm sorry, you guys were talking over each other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was asking if
well, one of you has to speak. See, he just talked over you, so I couldn't hear you.
Okay, here, one more time. I was asking if
Everybody pause.
Okay.
No, I didn't mean you.
Oh, okay. I was asking if they're providing any evidence to the Inspector General or maybe any congressional members or even the Intel Committee.
Oh no, not at all. No. This is private. It's two private companies, and they're all ex-military.
Oh, they're gonna just go like public online.
they're going to go public. Which vehicle they're going to use, they haven't. I'm not privy to that yet. However, I am aware in the new year in January
Are you aware
they're
of the
going
Black Manta
to.
project?
Oh, of course. That's an old project.
Yeah, cool. Okay. I just wanted to see if,
Is he a part of that? Are you a part of that? What is this Black Manta project?
I'll let Robert describe if you'd like.
Uh,
Yeah.
I did not work. I did not. I have not personally seen it. I know a lot about it. Um, as far as dimensions, propulsion systems, I'm not privy to that information.
So, yeah, okay. Well, I'll sum it up for everybody. Basically, it was a Lockheed Martin contract, and the contract had been fought over originally between Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. Those are the two biggest contractors that are pushed out. This was a while back. This is, again, just a reference. We've had technology that can use this type of propulsion since the 80s. I mean, we've had out of orbit flight capability since the 90s. And
Wow.
But basically, yeah. So these things, they were designed just like the principle I told you earlier, to basically go to places potentially, and this is just the capability of it. And about let's say give or take, and also the radar cross section is super small, smaller than an F-35. Again, the size of a quarter, and they could drop bombs and potentially blame it on other people, and no one would know they were there. There's no radar system that would catch it. And the idea is that they're not dumping bombs out of a bomb bay. It's that the bomb's strapped to it and then they drop it.
Yeah,
What the hell?
there's a project there. I can't remember, because this was in the 80s when they were, and now I know that they're using it on witchcraft, and I will get back to you on this. Anyways, as far as the disclosure goes, yeah, it's going to happen in January, and I know that there are people who are involved with MUFON and another agency I'm not allowed to say, and then this third agency, and they're just going to spill the beans.
Yeah.
So that's going to be awesome. But I know that
excited.
But I know that there's this technology that came out where they first started using Fresnel lenses, and the Fresnel lens whatever was, the lenses were throughout, above, all around the craft, and whatever the lens saw, that's what would be projected on the body of the craft. So if it was blue skies and clouds, it would look like blue skies and clouds. So it would basically be invisible. And I know that they're going to launch, or they've either launched, it's in service right now, or it's in testing right now. And from what I've heard, it's amazing. Like it's way beyond stealth technology.
Maybe that's the ship that Shai was just talking about.
Well, no, those are two different. Yeah, I mean, the principle that he's talking about, like, I'd like to describe it as cloaking almost, even though it's not really that. I feel like that's the best way to describe
it's like cloaking, but it's not exactly.
Yeah, but for people that don't understand that kind of concept, I think it's easier just to say cloaking, But
we'll keep it simple for people out here on the show.
Slow pokes like me.
The stealth capability that we have is so funny. I mean, I'm sure Robert can vouch for this. Even in the 80s, we had a clear advantage. I mean, Chinese don't come close. The Russians don't come close. The Russians, the only thing that they do decent, which is not really much, considering we know everything that Putin does in every moment.
Well, and this, I have a question for anybody in the chat, in the chat or in the boxes. Do we know? I mean, I know. Do we know where the stealth capability came from? Where what the genesis of it was?
I know it's UAPs. I mean, it's 100% metamaterial.
Definitely UAPs.
I mean, from these UAPs.
Well, no. I mean, like where so the refraction of radar.
Right.
What was the
genesis? The way that the materials are bent and the way it manipulates the radar.
What gave our evil government the idea to come up with that?
You're asking me, I wouldn't know. I have no idea.
I don't know.
So the inspiration for that came. derived from the Japanese, because the Japanese they lived in their dwellings are so close together, and there was so much interference with radio and television. They came up with a coating for the buildings to cut down on the interference. And the United States government, so the CIA created a private company to go to open up a business in Japan, and purchased that product, and then brought it back to the United States, and that was the beginning of stealth technology, the coating.
Interesting.
Cool.
That's how that started.
Awesome.
Very interesting, Robert.
Yeah, just a little trivia there for you.
You heard it here, folks.
Well, I would never need it. Yeah, I mean,
And now it is where it is, and like
Now
even
we
like
have stealth technology in our laptops.
I wish I had stealth technology on my laptop camera.
Now, speaking of this, and we're gonna get close to concluding. It's like 1 a.m. in the morning on the East Coast, but we're gonna bring more of this up tomorrow night live. But let's continue on with some final comments. I'll turn it over to Robert. I'm Shy, my co-host, and all my guests, all the people who are watching our show. We are on nightly, 10:30 till about onward, or 11 o'clock onward. Normally till about 1. So I'm going to let everybody take their turn. I want to first of all thank all my guests. Robert, my friend Robert, glad to have you with us, and introducing you to I'm Shy. So this show is about disclosure. And I hope that part of that disclosure on New Year's will be on this show. We'll let you work that out, Robert. You're welcome to come on here, and we'll have a big disclosure party.
Yeah, you can just come live.
We'll have a big disclosure party, and we'll have I'm Shy on here. Robert will get all the disclosure people on the show for New Year's Day or New Year's night or whatever, or the night after New Year's. Anyway, we'll figure that out.
It's gonna be in January. And just so everybody knows, first of all, I'm 60. I was in the military, and I entered in 81. So I go way back.
You go way back.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
So everyone, make your final important comments. Anything that we should know about that you wish to share right now, this is the time to share it. We'll be back on tomorrow night with another edition of Encounters, the Disclosure Show, for sure. So whoever wants to take it first, go ahead.
I do have a question for Robert. So do you know anything about, obviously, the origin of fiber optic, right? That involvement with UAP, and also Lockheed Martin's innovations of out of orbit. I just want to know if you know anything about it, because I hear that a lot, especially with the people I talk to in contracting, specifically these two defense contractors I mentioned a lot. But
are you asking me to be specific about? Are you asking me to be specific about fiber optics?
No, I'm just asking you if you have any knowledge about the out of orbit flight capabilities. Since the 80s, if you can give me your opinion on that and input.
That's really something that I'm not too familiar with, but the parts that I am familiar with, I'm not privy to.
I understand. Thank you.
To talk about. I mean, if you ever want to, just.
I followed you because I would like to probably talk about things and messages. I think it'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, what is your background, by the way?
Me? Okay, I went to school, and I got my bachelor's in geospatial sciences. I majored in image analysis, and I work in NGA. I've been working there as a geospatial analyst for 6 years. I work with synthetic aperture radar and remote sensing satellites on the EGOS operating system.
I have some photos. I have
breath after that one, girl.
I have some
photos.
Like
you're like the chick from Game of Thrones introducing herself with the name that's like 20 names long.
Go ahead, Robert.
I am Shy, Starborn of the Star Seeds, coming to bring disclosure, break the chains.
I have some photos that are claimed to be crash TR3B in Australia, and I would love to share those with you.
Oh, that would be amazing, especially with our government's hands-on
Well,
nature
be,
of that project.
well, I would love to share those with you because of your background.
That would be phenomenal. I could even
There
probably
you
tell
go.
you what, if they're oblique imagery or nadir, which is a drone, or satellite, I'd be able to tell you what probably
Yeah,
system it
she'll be able to
is.
tell you that, Robert. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't expect you, like, if we're live. I don't expect you to disclose everything because obviously, we have to. There's
There's,
things I would like to talk about, but I can't, and I'm sure it's the same thing with you.
I'm sure you have. I mean, I'm currently under some India from this
Yeah,
law.
yeah.
There you are. Uh, yeah.
But that's
Well,
okay.
well,
You know what? You could sign a waiver. We'll pay you $500 for the waiver. Just kidding.
But the thing is that this is there's always a synergy here, and that's why when Robert was here, I brought him in here because I wanted him to meet Shai, our friend, and build a community where everyone feels.
Oh man, did he? I thought I was just. Oh, I thought it was me, so I just stopped moving. Oh, he's going to sleep. Poor guy. Well, Shai, thank you so much for coming on. We love. Yeah, he's a cool dude. Wake up, Senator. Uh,
Yeah, I
I'm
actually had to
laughing at the
reboot.
chat.
Anyways, I had to reboot. I came back, and it was just like wow. So I got the hint. So I realized I need to be careful. Yeah, well, I got it out, but now I got to be
He had
careful.
to reboot the system. I remember that night.
Oh, I am more than positive, Commander. Every time you go live, you're being monitored. Yeah.
Wait, they can't hear us?
I can hear
Wait,
you.
wait, people
I
can
can
hear?
hear you.
Wow.
Weird.
That
Oh,
was,
okay,
who
cool.
can you hear? Everybody's saying I can hear you, but there's 4 yous here. Wow, guys, we can hear Commander. No, I can hear him no
Yeah, I
problem.
can too.
I've got a perfect.
Oh, they can't.
They
Oh, you're
they're
saying?
getting you. They're getting in them. They're getting them. Oh my
You're
God,
frozen,
guys! I'm
Commander.
telling you, right? We can see him.
That's what I am.
We can hear him. He's talking. He's moving right now, right next to me. He is talking to us. We're having a conversation. No, he's not frozen, guys. He's talking to us.
Yeah, they're saying they can't hear you.
Wow, this is crazy.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
there's three. There, you have three new ones that are saying I can't hear Commander. He's frozen. The next one is saying can't hear anyone. He's frozen. He's frozen.
This is weird.
The senator, he said the senator is still frozen. Hey,
Commander's
Mitch
still
McConnell,
frozen.
wake up.
Oh, Robert, I had a question.
Yeah. So guys, I'm gonna channel Commander since you can't hear him. He's saying that he is honored to be getting blocked by the government right now.
Um, or I mean, if we don't have enough time, I can just ask him in DMs. It's not a big deal.
No,
Okay.
you
Did
talk.
you guys have any issues with our missile defenses being deemed useless, or even? I don't know if you would know with your. I'm just asking out of curiosity because I wasn't around during that time period. I started in 2017. So missile defenses going offline, active jamming, and them
Yeah,
being
that's a discussion you and I can have privately.
awesome. That
I have
sounds
a
good.
lot. I have a lot of detail about that. And as a
Okay,
matter
cool.
of fact, I showed on live a detailed photo of a TR-3B
Oh wow.
on this live. Yeah, yeah, but no, but I have another one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but they're saying shy that you and I can talk about that we just can't share right now on this platform.
Understood. I understand. Thank you for letting me
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and since you guys can't hear the commander, he's over here. He just revealed the winning
Eject,
lottery
eject,
numbers.
Commander, eject, eject.
Command Kadar Manka just came down and said the winning lotto numbers, and you guys missed it. He's still there. Oh my gosh. They really can't hear you, Commander. It doesn't matter. You're just talking to us. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. You guys can't see it. He's got his camera on and everything. Well, listen, since you guys can't see him, I got to get to bed. I got to get up early.
Nice meeting everybody.
It was
Oh,
a
and
Yeah.
pleasure.
everybody,
All right, James,
go to
Shy,
my
Commander,
link
everybody in
in
the
my
chat.
bio
Take
and
care.
show me some love.
Bye bye, everyone.
The commander just said, "Guys, tell everybody to send me
We're gonna
gifts."
send you a TR-3B. Take care.
Oh hell, this guy, this guy said, "Tell him to send the gifts," and they're not even watching you. It's just me right now. All right, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.